And we are live on today's live stream episode of the Cryptoverse. With your host Chris Coney, this is the third episode of the Invest With Me series, coming live to you from the IndaHash headquarters in Warsaw. So that's where I am right now. If you're tuning into this live stream, first of all know that it is a live stream. I'm live here in Warsaw, in Poland, at the IndaHash headquarters, right here inside their offices. Now, a few other points here. If you've stumbled onto this live stream, you don't know what the hell's going on here. This is like a live coverage of IndaHash's ICO. So we're covering this kind of like a sporting event, like you have a commentator and an anchor and all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing that just with their crowdfund. So if you've never heard of ICO before, it stands for Initial Coin Offering. IndaHash are raising funds to develop a whole new part of their app ecosystem so they can expand it into the world of cryptocurrency, which is why I'm interested in it. Okay. So that's how it's going to go. We're going to stream for about an hour prior to the ICO going live, because it goes live, the actual crowdfund goes live about an hour from now. So we wanted to make sure everyone had time to show up, ask questions, make sure everyone understands what we're doing here and how it all works. And then when it goes live at 4 o'clock, we'll be ready to see how it goes. So very exciting stuff over here. So I'll be the anchor for most of the show, and then we're going to be having various guests from inside IndaHash come and introduce themselves, tell us what they do within IndaHash, and then we'll see how we go from there. We have got the YouTube chat, so if you want to post any messages to me or have any questions, there is also the Telegram chat group for IndaHash, so you can join that. I've got that open as well at the same time. So the first thing we should probably do here is a bit of a sound check. So if you can let me know in the YouTube chat if you can hear me coming through fine, please let me know that. I'm not quite sure how long the delay is on YouTube these days, but shouldn't be more than a few seconds. And what is IndaHash? We'll get to the questions in a mo. Someone does say we can't hear you, but it is coming through, I think. Let's see here. Let me preview the stream myself. Make sure this is working. So the first thing we should probably do here is a bit of a sound. That is working. I'll just turn that off because I don't have any feedback going on. So if you've got sound problems, I don't think it's our end, so check that out. So let's first start off by telling me where you guys are coming in from. We've got Germany in the house. What else we got? USA. Got questions coming in a lot now. Now, straight away, we've got a question about another cryptocurrency. Someone's asking about PivX. This live stream is specifically for the IndaHash ICO. So if you ask questions about anything else, those questions will be ignored because these are the boundaries of the stream for today. So just be aware of that. If you've got other questions for me personally about other cryptocurrencies, then this is not the forum for that. So most people are saying loud and clear. Loud and clear, loud and clear. That sounds good to me. Sweet. So we've got Texas in the house. I'm just looking for any regulars here from the Cryptoverse. Bulgaria, Sydney, more people from Germany. Let's see how many we got going on here. I'm going to keep Twitter open at the same time because even though the YouTube chat is the best place to chat, I've noticed on other live streams before that people tend to tweet at me and then wonder why I don't reply, because normally I don't have Twitter open, but on this occasion I will do, just so no one's left hanging. Let's see here. This is going to get mixed up with loads of my own mentions on Twitter from news stories and whatnot. So while that's loading up, we'll talk a bit about the mechanics of the ICO, shall we? So an ICO is, just for anyone, just make sure everyone's on the same page here. An ICO is a revolutionary way of raising funds. And we do it with digital tokens and cryptocurrencies. And that's what IndaHash are doing. They're creating the IndaHash coin with the goal of tokenizing the influencer marketing industry. Now, if that sounds like a bunch of words you never even heard before, there is this thing called the influencer marketing industry. I happen to be part of it. So YouTubers, people with big Instagram channels, celebrities who have lots of following, obviously people tune into them because they like and trust those people. And then of course if that person recommends something, it has a lot more weight than just any old advert. So the whole idea of people who have these big social media followings and then recommending products is a huge growth area in the industry of marketing. So because we know people using ad blockers these days, I look at my YouTube stats all the time and I can see the amount of views and the amount of views that earn ad revenue, and it's, you know, there's a big gap between the two. So getting people to stop using ad blockers, that's not going to work, right? Because people are going to continue to use them. So that's a clear message from people that they don't want to see adverts, right? But what people do want to do is have a relationship with real people. So what am I up to now? 32,000 YouTube subscribers. That are people that are tuning into me on a daily basis because they want my take on cryptocurrency news and commentary, right? So if they like my little flavor, they can tune into me every day, and that's it. That means then if I find something interesting, I'll share that with my audience, and then they can do with it whatever they will. So IndaHash is a company that already exists. It's about 2 years old, and they've developed an app. It's a mobile app where people like me or any other social media influencer, you can install the app, and it's a marketplace. So think all the companies that want to advertise, and then you've got all the social media influencers. So right now, it's a bit, in the cryptocurrency industry in particular, it's a bit chaotic. So I get emails directly into my inbox from companies saying, you know, can we have an interview, or can you feature our fundraiser, or whatever it is. And it's very time consuming for me to then negotiate deals one-on-one with these companies, right? So that money helps to fund my enterprise so that the content is free for everybody else. But one every X number of videos can be sponsored. The trouble is, it's incredibly time consuming for the company and for me to go backwards and forwards and figure out what the deal is going to be and so on. So the IndaHash app goes a long way to automating this process. Creates a marketplace so that if you own a business and you want to basically run adverts through these social media influencers, IndaHash will help you do that. They'll post it on the app marketplace. The social media influencers will log in and they'll see all of the campaigns they can participate in. There'll be parameters around each campaign. So it will say, what we want you to do is post a picture on your Instagram of this new pillow technology, you know, show your dog laying on it, be creative, that's what you're good at. And this is what it pays. If you make sure you hashtag it with the right hashtags and mention the right people, you satisfy the criteria of the campaign, and that's the basis on what you get paid. So it's good for the business because they basically get around ad blockers, right? And at the same time, for the consumers, they're actually hearing about products that people they like, respect, and trust actually believe in. So that's an important part of it. A social media influencer will only have influence if they maintain integrity. That's my personal opinion, because I won't take on any sponsored video just because it pays. That is absolutely crucial to maintaining integrity with my audience. So even when I do the sponsored reviews, it has to be something I'm already interested in and believe is a good idea, right? Because otherwise, if I compromise on that, I'm sacrificing, you know, momentary gratification for myself, for my long-term career as a social media journalist and cryptocurrency commentator. So you've got to take the long view in this business. So that's what IndaHash have been doing up until now. The problem they have, and this was a pre-existing problem before they came across cryptocurrencies, was they've got 300,000, actually more than 300,000 of these social media influencers all around the world. And first problem is paying all these people in 70 odd different countries. If you're into cryptocurrency, what do we all like about cryptocurrency? It goes to one level of abstraction above the financial system, right? So imagine that. Instead of having to pay people in Japanese yen and British pounds and have all these bank accounts and all of the international transfers, and it takes forever to get there. And, you know, we're all familiar with the problems with the existing banking system, right? But for IndaHash, with such a global reach, it's a significant problem. So then one day they come across cryptocurrency and go, a frictionless financial system where we can just pay everybody in a universal currency and then everyone can be happy, right? So that's really where they're going. This is the extension that IndaHash want to build into their app. So there will still be the traditional campaigns and everything. The difference will be they're creating a token, a cryptocurrency token, which is going to be used as their private currency within the ecosystem. So I'll pause there. We'll go and look into that in a bit more detail later. And I just don't ramble on with one big monologue for this whole stream. We want to mix this up to make it kind of varied and engaging for everybody. So let's see. Oh, the chat has now kind of caught fire a bit more. See some people from Russia in the house. If you have any questions, yeah, post them in the YouTube chat. We just check the status of the stream here, make sure everything's good. Looks good. Like I said, for you, anybody just joining the stream now, we are about 50 minutes out from the ICO going live. In fact, if I just hop over to the IndaHash ICO landing page here, it's indahash.com/ICO. And if you scroll partway down the page there, it says pre-ICO starts 8th of November, that's today, and there's the countdown timer. It says 3 p.m. UTC, but if you want to work that out in your own time zone, you can just look at the countdown timer, and 49 minutes from now is when it's going to go live, right? So at that point in time, let's then skip over to the email that came out about 20 hours ago. This came out yesterday. It was the 24-hour notice email. So it's saying the ICO begins in 24 hours, and it gave more details about exactly how this is going to go in terms of the mechanics of it. One important thing to mention, which is in the grey box here, it says, due to account verification and KYC requirements, citizens of the United States, China, and Singapore are not allowed to participate in this crowdfund. And that's because of the regulatory restrictions in those countries, right? It's not something IndaHash has a choice over. They simply can't participate in those markets because of the laws in those jurisdictions. So unfortunately, if you are from any of those jurisdictions, you're not allowed to participate in the crowdfund, unfortunately. But for everyone else, what you will need is a Ethereum wallet that is compatible with the ERC20 tokens, and you'll also need some Ethereum currency. Now, the minimum pledge to this crowdfund is 0.5 Ether. That was revised recently. It was previously lower than that, but again, because of the KYC, the Know Your Customer regulations, it's had to be set at a higher bar than that. So half an Ether is the minimum amount to pledge. And what will happen in 50 minutes time, when the countdown reaches 0, is the address to send the cryptocurrency will appear on the IndaHash ICO page. Now what I'm going to do, I intend to actually go through the process myself. So I have, I think, in my MetaMask wallet, I believe I have some Ethereum set there ready. Let me check. I'll make sure I've got this in here. There are two main wallets you can use, really. There's MetaMask, which is a plugin for Google Chrome, or you can use the My Ether wallet site as well. Now I just need to unlock my MetaMask because it's asking me for the password. So just give me 1 second here while I log into that. There we go. I think my computer's been mashed by the stream a little bit. I guess someone asks, why not Bitcoin? Well, because the IndaHash coin is going to be an ERC20 token, it lives on the Ethereum network. So the way this is going to work is there is a smart contract, and the address is going to be posted in about 50 minutes time, and that will be the address where people will send their Ether. The thing is, you can't send Bitcoin to an Ethereum address. And the reason that's important is that the smart contract is going to be keeping track of all of the Ether that comes in, and it's going to be keeping a log of all the addresses that Ether is coming from, right? And that's how it knows who it owes the IndaHash coins to, right? That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Oh, we just had a light knocked out here. Let's turn that back on. Thank you. Got guests coming and going, so we're going to have some guests on later on. This is the perils of live streaming. It is, show must go on. Anyway, so the point I was making there is the whole point about Ether only is so that when you send that Ether, the address you send from gets tagged. So then you're owed a number of IndaHash coins, which will then be sent back to that same address once the minimum crowdfund amount is reached. So that's the answer to the question, why not Bitcoin? So it would be a whole load of other work to kind of create a separate system that would collect the Bitcoin and then somehow tell the smart contract who's owed the coins. And even then, you can't send IndaHash coins to a Bitcoin address. So, you know, that's why, basically. Now, the chat's gone scrolled up here. This is one of the downsides of the YouTube chat, is that if a lot of messages are posted, it's kind of hard to keep track of where I've read up to. So other people are asking what currency is used for the ICO. Ethereum is the only one. What else we got here? People from Florida in the house. Qatar, interesting. South Africa, more people from Sydney, Belgium, Miami, another person from Belgium. Gotta be careful we don't scroll too far here. Brazil, San Francisco, from Norway, Qatar again, I think that's the same person though. France. Someone says, are you also investing into IndaHash? I personally am, yes, I'm going to do that on the stream. Do I have to register with IndaHash in order to purchase the tokens during the pre-ICO? The answer is yes, but all you have to do is, let's go back to the landing page here. If I pop over to the IndaHash ICO page, which is indahash.com/ICO, from the very top here, you click on this button that says register for the pre-ICO. That will jump you down to this little form, very straightforward. You enter an email address and then you enter your Ethereum wallet address. Now this needs to be the Ethereum address that you intend to send from. That's key, because whichever address you send from is the address that you're going to get the IndaHash coins into, right? So yeah, I was just saying I'm about to log into my MetaMask wallet here, and I was waiting for my password manager to load up. I think my laptop is struggling a bit with the I've turned the stream quality up quite a bit because the connection here is reasonably good on the upload. So I thought to create a higher definition video feed, I'll turn that up. However, that is putting a greater strain on my laptop. So when I try and do other things with it, it's taking a little longer than I would like. Anyway, so I'm just going to search my little password manager here for my MetaMask password. I'm going to have to wait for it to catch up. Here it is. So I'm doing this without sharing the screen, obviously, because that would be daft. And that's something you got to be careful of when you're live streaming. It's quite easy to leave the wrong scene on when you're sharing your screen and then end up showing everyone the crown jewels. Right, in we go with MetaMask. Unlock that. Is it going to work? Yes, it is. Chris Wallet. There we go. Nice. So like I said, you've got two options really in my mind for how to participate. You can use MetaMask like I'm going to do, or you can use my Ether wallet. In either case, you need to make sure you've got some Ethereum in that wallet before we go live in about 40 minutes. So like you can see here in my Google Chrome browser, you can't actually see it because the overlay isn't showing up, but trust me, I've got about 2.5 Ether in that wallet ready to go. So I'll pledge maybe a 0.6 just on this stream. I'm not going to reveal on the stream exactly how much I'm putting into this. I'm only doing that for educational purposes so you can see the process work. And again, I can't do it until we go live anyway, because the address isn't visible yet. So that's close to the kept secret until the countdown reaches 0. Now, I did say earlier on that I expected people to be tweeting at me, but no one is. So maybe everyone's sticking to the Telegram chat group and the YouTube chat, which is cool. What we got here? People are posting kind of funny memes to me and so on. That's going to be a bit of a distraction, so let me not dwell on that too much. So some people are retweeting the live stream link on Twitter, so that's cool. Appreciate that. Right, let's go back to see what else I've got going on here. I think, how long have we been going here? It's probably about time for a guess. What do you reckon? We've got, yeah?
I'll pop in.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got Joe here. Joe, what's your last name, Joe?
I'm Joe Kravchuk, but yeah.
Joe Kravchuk.
Hi, everyone.
Go in the screen.
How do I get in the screen?
There we go. There he is.
Hey.
Right, let's bring up the YouTube chat here. So, what's your last name again? Joe?
Kravchuk.
Kravchuk.
I just go by Joe, though. Joe's
okay,
cool.
So you might recognize Joe from some of the IndaHash explainer videos.
Yeah.
One of your voiceovers is on the ICO video, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So, Joe, what do you do?
I'm the creative director here. I mostly help with communications, helping people understand what exactly influencer marketing is, how our app works, and I create content. Mostly I'm creating content kind of evangelizing influencer marketing. I do a lot of talks and things around.
Do you do any kind of social media influencer stuff yourself? Are you like a personal brand?
Yeah, one of the reasons I got hired was I started an English teaching channel.
Oh yeah?
It's not really running anymore, but it was an Instagram called English Rebels. And it was,
English Rebels?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We picked up 35,000 followers back when we were hitting it. nice plug. And yeah. IndaHash, that's where we're at. And
sorry, English channel. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and no, so I was teaching English, and then I got in touch with IndaHash. I thought the idea was really cool and good, so I hopped on board, and now I've been here a year now. I was one of the early employees. Yeah.
So you've seen the meteoric rise of IndaHash, right?
Yeah.
Because it's only 2 years old, and you gave me the tour earlier on, and it kind of feels like Google in here because it's on 2 floors. And even when you showed me, you was like, "Oh, that's the," you showed me around the actual reception area, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And you were like, "Right, let's go over to the other wing." I'm like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah. Well,
and then when we got down here, the corridor. I mean, you guys have to watch it on the travel blog, but I was like, "Oh God!" And then there's offices for days, right?
Yeah. We've expanded a lot. I mean, I remember early on when we were just trying to we had the technology, but we didn't necessarily have all the influencer resources that we do now. I mean, when we hit 100,000 influencers, we were very excited, and we knew it was something. But now we're at 300. We hit 1 billion followers collectively between our influencers. So between our 300,000 influencers, we have 1 billion reach.
Right. So you got like IndaHash surrounded by 300,000 influencers, surrounded by 1 billion people.
Yeah.
Right,
like 7
crazy.
degrees of influence.
Yeah,
something like that.
Or 3 in this case.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I remember we started in a basement when I was there, and then we moved. It was just like people were coming in every day because we were just like selling campaigns, and it was obvious that influencer marketing was going to be a big hit in the marketing world. And
actually, on that point, right, because we talk a lot about the influencer side of things, which we spoke earlier on. You said like it kind of spread by word of mouth because influencers know other influencers. We got Mike Ribera in the room; he's going to be on later on. So that's easy enough. But how did you go about attracting the actual clients who wanted to run the campaigns?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to our human resources department, we were looking for. Well, the biggest thing I think was not necessarily finding clients, because a lot of clients are interested in influencer marketing, but it was kind of teaching them how to automize it. And also, Barbara had her connections from her previous company. And also, when our human resources, we were trying to find people in business who already had connections with agencies or big clients. And beyond that, it was just if we send a case study to a client and they see our performance, they see it's attractive, we get a meeting with them. Usually what happens is clients will run just tests with us, like small campaigns, small budgets, see how it goes, and then they just keep building it. I mean, L'Oreal, I think, is a good example. We've done, I don't know, over 20 campaigns with them, and they've all been pretty interesting and cool.
Okay, so a couple of things there. This is not something I thought about before, right? Which is why I was saying beforehand, like a lot of stuff's going to come up that triggers another thought.
Yeah.
So like, I'm thinking, you just said something about like the clients weren't, you had to get them educated onto the idea of automating their influencer stuff. Yeah. So my question is like, how were they going about it before? Was it like I explained earlier on, where right now I'm literally manually interacting with people
you nailed it. Like that was it, because that's kind of our angle for selling it to businesses, is that no longer, like within the IndaHash technology, you don't have to do one-on-one contracts with influencers, negotiations, approving content. It's kind of we're a full service. We do everything. We do contracts with our TNCs, and in the technology, we can go worldwide, and we've been able to scale. And rather than having each company have their own kind of influencer marketing place, which is so we're just kind of helping out in that angle.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
Yeah.
I had another thing to say about that. Yeah, the other thing you said is the way you get their attention is when they see our results. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Well, essentially, our results are good. What we do is to make sure we have solid results as a company is like we're fielding all of our influencers in the app. So, I mean, anybody watching this, you can download the IndaHash app right now.
Right, you can.
And if you have 700 followers on Instagram, we'll check your profile first automatically, check if you have fake followers and things, because we want to make sure we have quality
right. So that's why the IndaHash company, rather than just a piece of technology, go nuts, right? Because you would have a quality control problem there, right?
Yeah.
That's the human element you've got here. Is you actually showed me the team that does the, what did you call it? Quality.
Quality assurance.
Yeah.
They're making sure. Well, that team is making sure campaigns are getting as high, getting as much publicity as possible. They're checking analytics and everything, and then beyond that, we have ICR, which is a huge team in there, speaking with influencers. Patrick's here; he could probably talk about it a bit too. But you guys are moderating. Influencers, moderating content, and making sure we get the best influencers, more or less. Yeah. And also they're helping with business, with the business side. Business guys are talking to them, making sure campaigns like go live at the right time,
Mm-hmm.
get like the right content according to the brief, and yeah, so it's all, there's a lot of communication going between all the departments all the time, but
Right,
yeah,
that's cool.
we're trying to
That's
make
super
sure
cool.
we just deliver what the client wants
Right.
pretty much at the end of the day.
And it's all those
Yeah.
measures as well, I suppose. Because the other thing that I think Barbara told me this was it's not just like massive social media influencers that can do this. You just said like if you've got 700 Instagram followers,
Yeah.
you can get involved.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this just by downloading the app, and you can be good to go pretty quickly.
Yeah, so that kind of goes back to our results because here's a bit of science. On like a sociological perspective, the higher connection is between people, so micro influencers or mid-tier influencers, which is 700 to 1,000 or 1,000 to 50,000, maybe even 100,000, you'll get much higher engagement rates because the audience feels more connected with the influencer themselves. And with higher engagement rates, you have higher social learning and like interest, and you can measure engagement rates by comments and likes, etc. And so people are more likely to listen to people who they feel stronger connections with, and marketers are really interested in that. So as a company, we're trying to find a way to just kind of give people also the opportunity to follow, like for example, you're making money on your channel, I suppose, for following your passion of influence, or for ICOs and crypto stuff. Yeah, so we're just kind of interested in seeing how we can bring marketing to the people. If that makes sense?
It does make sense.
And when you give it to the people, you get much higher engagement rates because people are authentic.
Right, and it's two-way. I was going to say it's two-way in the sense that it doesn't just come from the companies wanting to advertise whatever it is, product launch or so on. It could come the other way as well. So, for example, if I get a company come to me and say, we want to launch this product, and me knowing the market and knowing the crypto space go, that's a terrible idea, right? They're going to hate it. That's valuable, right?
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the holy grail of marketing has always been, how do you connect the producers of value with the consumers of value in such a way that the consumers of the value go, that is exactly what I want, right? In every way, shape, and form. And that's hard. Yeah, that's a hard problem.
Especially right now, because I mean, it used to be very direct. You'd have TV. You would just have to put a sticker saying "now seen on TV," and that would give it some sort of like validity.
It would, but it wouldn't necessarily mean that the selling criteria and the buying criteria met. You know, it was just because you had no alternative, right? You broadcast media, and I have no other choice, so that's the one, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I guess one way we try to make sure we like provide legitimate. Or the way we do provide legitimate advertising is we connect the right influencer with the brand and make sure they're interested and they want to. And more like all the time, influencers won't promote anything that they're not interested in because they're looking after their own personal brand themselves. So, yeah, they'll
only do it once, and because they'll get the backlash from their fans immediately.
Yeah,
right? Exactly. And then they'll be like, okay, best not do that again, right?
I've learned a lesson. Yeah, exactly. So
because you'll just burn out your audience, and that's the end of your career as a social media influencer. So it's kind of the incentives are set up in such a way that's cool, right?
Yeah. So we're looking through hashtags and archetypes like Jungian, like Carl Jung. So,
okay.
Yeah, his archetypes to try and connect the right people with the right brands.
Now that's interesting. That's deep psychology.
Yeah, we get it from every angle.
That's cool, man.
We're interested in it. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
And what else? I don't know what else I can share. Any questions coming in? What do we got?
Let's see. Let's check the IndaHash chat group. See if what's going on here. I think you've got some of your peeps answering questions in there as well. So I have Eth ready. What to do next? Do I get the email or what? So
yeah, well, if you're signed up and registered, you'll get the email once we go live.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Link to participate. If you haven't already pre-registered, you can just go to that URL, indahash.com/ICO. Click on the pre-register button, fill in your email address and your Ethereum address that you're going to be sending from, and then watch your inbox is all we can say.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe I could speak to the ICO a little bit.
Sure.
I'm not the ICO resident expert here, but I guess as a company's perspective, I can say that we see influencer marketing for sure as being, it's already, the forecast for influencer marketing spend is huge in the next few years. And we see as social media is kind of the current paradigm. I mean, we're here live doing this right now, which I think is the greatest example we can give. That we see it as a growing market for marketers, and it's only going to grow, and therefore we need a really like an implemented way to pay influencers quickly and also kind of create a community and a universe within the marketing thing, kind of put a smart structure over something that's rather unstructured, which is social. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's a kind of good point. And you don't want to go too far with that either, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to make it too regimented, which is interesting, because there was a question of it goes back to that thing I was talking about, just automating the whole thing and just making it a piece of technology. Whereas it's kind of funny, the social media marketing industry, you've got this social media marketing trend that's colliding with, well, marketing is a numbers thing, you know? So there's kind of a transition from just pure metrics to the qualitative stuff, and now there's a way to do it through real people, you know, who have that emotional intelligence with the audience, right?
Yeah, I think, well, I guess I can say you can kind of, it's interesting trying to measuring people's interest in an advertisement, but you can do it with like click-through rates or with engagement is how we look at it the most.
Yeah, kind of like on YouTube, the big thing, like the watch time.
Yeah,
because that's great, because you can see how long someone's attention stayed there. Yeah, which is kind of the best metric ever, you know.
Yeah. So it's this kind of thing that we find really interesting, but also I think there is this element of just the human element of using somebody who's authentically interested and in a product and able to give their perspective on it, and also give their own like human personality to their creation, to their thing, which will then there's an element of just human creativity that we really kind of have a lot of trust in.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Cool.
Anything else I can?
Yeah, well, maybe we'll bring it back a bit later.
All right, sounds good. Yo,
cool.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, man.
And I'll still be here.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the room. So if you want to join back on, just say so, and we'll pull him back in.
All right, sounds good.
All right, cool. So let's do a review of where we're at here. Make sure no major problems going on. No, there's not. 28 minutes left. Yep. Definitely the IndaHash chat group is on the ball, for sure. Let's check the YouTube chat here. What we got? Didn't catch the reason on the name. Okay, it's IndaHash, as in hashtag, as in social media hashtag. That's kind of where the name. What's the Inda bit? What's the Inda bit in IndaHash?
Living in the hashtag.
Living in the hashtag. There you go. Yeah.
In the club.
In the house. All the Indas, right? So there you go. I assume you mean the name of IndaHash and not the name of the Cryptoverse, if that's what you meant, then repost that question. Do you offer your service to small companies? Yes. That's one of the big things that I didn't understand when I first read the white paper, is I was assuming it was like the Aston Kutchers with the millions and millions of followers, and then the Coca-Colas, and that was what the business was going to be. And then Barbara's like, well, not exclusively, no. There's a huge long tail of what Joe just called micro-influencers, people with 1,000 Instagram followers who might be in some niche market with a really tight relationship with their followers. And to think about it, how can Ashton Kutcher possibly keep any kind of personal relationship with more than a handful of his followers, right? You might see the same names come up over and over again, but it's just a sea of people, right? And as the numbers go up, it's kind of the closeness goes down, right? In that kind of way. So with these micro-influencers, I remember when I first started my YouTube channel, when I had like 2,000 subscribers, I could almost reel off, many of the regulars. But now with 32,000, while I get like 6,000 or 7,000 views a day, it's a different set of my audience. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not the same 6,000 people, even though I'm publishing 5 videos a week, sometimes more, and each one gets about 5,000 or 6,000 views. It's not the same 6,000 people every day. You know what I'm saying? So some people might watch twice a week. You follow me with that. So the answer to that question was the service is available to small companies. So not just micro influencers on that end, but also small businesses. Of course, they are at the mercy of ineffective advertising as well, and ad blockers and all the rest of it. So of course they can access this, and they can do that now, even without the IndaHash coin, which is just a whole nother thing, right? So someone says, because I live in America, I can't participate in the ICO. That is correct. If you're in the United States, due to US regulations, US citizens are excluded. If you don't like that, talk to the US regulators. Looks like you've already outgrown the tiny coat. No, I have not outgrown my tiny coat. I'm just a tiny person. That's the problem. Or is that a problem? It's not. But this shipped is all the way from the UK, so it would look authentic Cryptoverse, you know, with a bit of IndaHash purple flavor. I did bring my special IndaHash purple t-shirt, but then when I saw this, I thought, that's enough purple for one shot, I think. To have purple on the shirt as well would have been overload. And my brain nearly exploded when Joe came on with his purple purple jacket, which is the one out of the videos, right? That's cool, man. That's cool. So someone say, how many ether are you guys sending? Well, me personally, I'm going to do about 0.6 ether when I do the demo. And then I'll do the rest of my stuff off stream, just because I don't want to reveal how much I'm sticking into this thing. People from India in the house. Why issue the tokens instead of using Ether or BTC? Okay, that's a good question. The answer to that is actually in the white paper. So let's take a quick detour, answer that question, then we'll bring on another guest. So let me hop over to the white paper here. There is a diagram of IndaHash's crypto economic ecosystem that they're going to build here. So let me scroll down. There it is. It's actually, that's a small version of it. If I go further in the white paper, there is a better version of it. Now you can see what's happening to my laptop, can't you? Because I'm streaming at high quality, it's absolutely mashing it. Interestingly enough, I was in Heathrow Airport, and there was a company that went bankrupt in the UK many years ago. It's called Dixon's, right? It's an electronics store, and now Dixon's is back. So someone's bought the brand and relaunched it. It's very Apple-esque inside the store. The importance of this story is there was a Dixon's in Heathrow Airport Terminal 3. And I was like, hey, cool. So I went in there, waiting for the flight and so on. And it's very like Apple store. So they've got all this stuff in rows and all that kind of stuff. And what that gave me the opportunity to do was pull my laptop out of my bag and just see how big this thing is compared to some of the stuff that's out there now. I was sat opposite someone on the train the other day, and this lady was like, wow, that's huge. And I was like, is it really that big? Because it does... I'm just used to it because I edit videos on it. It's got a big screen and so on. But everyone's running around with these MacBook Airs, right? Which are just like these tiny little things. And by comparison, this thing is huge. And the more I travel, the more I go, yeah, this thing is a pain in the ass. So while I was in Dixon's, I was able to look at all these laptops. And when I put my laptop next to these stuff like Dell XPS 13s and stuff like that, I'm like, wow, this thing is huge. So that's kind of given me a bug to get myself a new laptop, which is both powerful and small. So that's a quick story there. Maybe I can get a more powerful one so this kind of thing doesn't happen in the future. It'll teach me not to stream in such high quality next time. I mean, because that's a trade-off, isn't it? I will get to this diagram in a mo. Can't remember what page it's on. Maybe I should have set that up beforehand. Didn't know the question was going to come in though, so I couldn't, could I? I would encourage you to read the white paper before, if you're going to participate, definitely run through the white paper. IndaHash have gone to the great lengths, as you can see, to put a lot of graphic design into this. It's not really a white paper, it's colorful, right? And it's like an infographic on steroids. So I will get to this in a minute. Now there it is, page 18 if you're interested. So the reason let me loop right back so we know what we're talking about here. Someone said, why the token, right? Why create a token rather than using Ether or BTC? Well, if you download the app, the IndaHash app right now, you can actually find an option to receive your payouts in Ether. That's already there. So that goes some way to solving the problem of all the banking system and the various countries and the various currencies and all that sort of stuff. However, the IndaHash token goes a step further than that. So let's run through this and then we'll bring another guest out. So here we go. This is how the ecosystem will work with the IndaHash coin. So this big bubble called brand, this is the company that wants to promote or advertise whatever it is, you know, Coca-Cola or the local hairdresser or whatever, doesn't matter who it is. All they know is they want to market their business and they want to use social media influencers to do it. So first arrow here, you've got a $sign and IndaHash coins. So the brand can choose to pay for their marketing campaign either with dollars like they do now or whatever currency is in their country, or once this token exists, they can choose to pay in IndaHash coins. Now they'll buy those coins from the exchanges, right? So straight away, that's point one. That's how demand is created for the IndaHash coins. So remember that because that's going to be important in a mo. So let's say that they choose to buy the IndaHash coins and then they pay for that campaign, right? That essentially goes, that value flows through the IndaHash app, and then we're going down this purple left-hand side here, and then it says IndaHash rewards influencers with IDH coins for their campaign. So at this point, the brand has paid for the campaign, and now XYZ social media influencer does whatever the campaign requires, posting the video, posting the photo with the required hashtags and mentions and so on. As long as it satisfies the criteria, then that person will receive payment in IndaHash coins. Of course, different campaigns will pay different rates, depends on the size of your following and yada yada, right? So that will all come out in the wash. Now, what can the influencer then do with those coins? Well, they can either exchange those IndaHash coins on the exchanges, so they could then say sell them just like any cryptocurrency token for Bitcoin or Ether, whatever, and then pay their rent, buy their dog a new dog bed, whatever it is, live on that money. And if they sell them on the exchanges, well, the question is who's going to buy them? Well, the next company that wants to do advertising and pay with the tokens. So that's a closed loop right there, right? From the advertiser to the influencer and back again. So that creates a sustainable ecosystem as it is. That's not where the use of the IDH coin ends, though. If we scroll down even further, there is more to this model. So let's go back to the point where the influencer has been paid their IndaHash coins. So they have the coins in their wallet, sat there, now they decide what they're going to do with them. Well, what they can do is they can create their own private coin on top of that, if you know what I mean. So they can use the IDH tokens to create their own custom token for like the Chris Coney coin or whatever it happens to be, the Joe coin, which they can then use to give to their audience. So this is the fourth party in the whole thing. We've got the brand, the app that's doing the automation, the influencer that's influencing the audience and creating the promotional effect. And of course, then we've got the audience who are giving their attention to the content and to the product, and some of whom are ultimately going to buy whatever it is that is being promoted. So to incentivize the audience to say, share the sponsored content or follow me on YouTube, or there could be any number of different things that could be incentivized. And if the audience does that, then I can pay them in, say, the Chris Coney coin, right? So now you've got Chris Coney coins. What do you do with that? Well, I could create any number of perks. I could do private live streams that you have to pay for with the Chris Coney coin. I could do signed merchandise. I could do a special meetup, right? And all of these special perks will be exclusively for the holders of Chris Coney coins, right? So that creates an even better, another ecosystem even further down. And the audience doesn't necessarily care about the higher levels of this model, right? It's very much a one-to-one relationship. You've got audience influencer, you've got influencer advertiser, and then you've got IndaHash in the center as the technology platform, making this very smooth and automating it as best as possible for the sake of efficiency. So you can't do that unless you create your own custom token, because that gives you the requisite flexibility with the technology to carry that whole thing out. So that's a reasonably long answer, but hopefully a comprehensive answer to the question, why do it with IndaHash coins rather than just Ethereum or Bitcoin? Cool. So hopefully that's satisfactory. If there are any gaps there in the knowledge there, then repost them and I'll get to them when we come back to the chat. Righty-ho. Let's bring on another guest from IndaHash. Who should we have next? Who wants to come on next? Do you have Barbara? You want to come on next?
I have 10 minutes.
Yes.
If it fits, yes.
You have 10 minutes left and you got to go?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have Barbara in the house. Barbara, the CEO and founder of IndaHash. Here she comes. There she is. Hey, there we go. Right, let's sort this out. Hello,
Hello.
Barbara. Who are you?
I am CEO and co-founder of IndaHash.
The CEO.
Yeah.
That's my Barbara impression. What did we have yesterday? What was that? What was that?
Wellington.
Oh, no. What was it?
Beef Wellington.
You see, you've softened it now. Last night it was beef Wellington. And you see, you punked me then. You punked me. I thought I was going to get you. But anyway, so IndaHash. Joe and I were talking about this, and we were talking about its origins. And the way I put it, I said, Joe, is IndaHash kind of like what your previous business was, like LifeTube, except more automated, right? So take us back in time a little bit. Talk about LifeTube. How did that work? Was it the same sort of thing, matching brands and influencers through YouTube, right?
It was matching brands and influencers, but not in a fully automated way.
Right.
And there were top influencers, so top YouTubers.
Right.
So we have been doing managerial services for them.
Mm-hmm. Like a marketing agency type,
Exactly.
talent agency?
Yeah, exactly, like talent agency.
Okay. So that's a very manual process.
Very manual, and it was in a partnership with YouTube.
Okay.
And I noticed that there's a great potential in mid-tier and micro-influencers, but no one can approach them because to get scale, you need like 50, 100 or even more people. So I thought there's a great opportunity to create technology to engage also micro and mid-tier people on one hand. On the other hand, technology would allow us to work and operate on many, many markets. And also, by technology, we can automate the process so that when someone has app, they don't have to write emails. They just can apply for a campaign when they're in the target group. They see their rate per post, which is also automated, so that it's just in an app. And they're also paid automatically. They accept TNCs automatically.
Right.
So
Standardize the contract and the legal side of things, right?
Yeah. So it can be also adjusted to clients' needs, but there is a standard TNC. So many points that usually demanded hours of discussions are automated.
Okay. So without the automation, right?
Yeah.
I imagine that manual process of before, that was probably why you couldn't include the smaller influencers, because it just wasn't worthwhile, right? In terms of a business proposition. So that's the thing about technology, right? It gives access to broader and broader audiences. So it's not now with the IndaHash app, the cost of the administration is lowered to a point where you can recruit a lot of micro influencers. Is this correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we can operate on 70 markets right now.
Right.
Within less than 2 years. So it creates new opportunities for us, and we can also do things much faster. So it happened that we had a campaign live, and 100 people were submitting their photos or videos within 1 or 2 hours.
Right.
It's almost impossible to coordinate it manually,
Sure.
or it can demand like lots of resources.
Right,
Yeah.
lots of people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's cool.
So this is something that via app is possible and works, and it's amazing because you can reach so many people at once, and they are creating completely different content one from another. So
Right. And that's the thing about, because I've run marketing agencies,
Yeah.
and what companies want is to largely outsource creativity, because that's kind of like the master skill in marketing, is making interesting campaigns that are engaging and so on. Well, with influencers, because there's so many individuals with so many different creative ideas, that's like crowdsourcing creativity. That's the way I would say it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I am completely with you.
Right.
But also my perspective is that besides crowdsourcing creativity, it's also a kind of change that happens in the media world, so that influencers are becoming publishers.
Yes, of course.
So we used to watch TV, listen to radio, buy newspapers, and right now we spend more and more time on following other people, looking what they post in the social media, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, and so on. So, and people trust people
Right.
usually much more than the media nowadays.
Well, actually, that's how it used to work, right? The influencers of the past were the big anchors on the news shows,
Yes.
which was kind of like, that's like the old way of influencers. You have like I can't even think of someone, the Brian Kelly show or whatever it is, because people tune into that person. Whereas now there are lots and lots of those people, and you can choose to tune into whoever you like. I did have another question, which is, with this new ecosystem, is this going to allow IndaHash to enter markets that were previously inaccessible? So you're in 70 countries, and I described the problems with, having lots of different currencies to deal with and lots of different jurisdictions and so on. So by creating the IndaHash token and going cryptocurrency, is that going to allow you to open up countries that you couldn't have previously got access to for influencers and stuff like that?
Well, I don't recognize right now the country that we wanted to launch.
Okay, expand into.
Yeah, and it was difficult for us because of some other reasons. I think that it will make things easier and faster.
Okay.
So this is the difference. Maybe the case you're thinking of can also occur, but I'm just not aware of it right now.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Maybe.
Right. It's primarily, it's going to deepen the user base in existing markets, right?
Yes.
To almost
And also make rollouts faster.
What was that? Almost
Also make rollouts, so entering new markets faster and easier.
Right.
I think
that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Barbara.
Thank you.
Do you want to share anything else before you go?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm just waiting for our pre-ICO to go live.
Oh, 10 minutes to go. Right.
Yeah.
Get out. Cool. I would say round of applause for Barbara, but I'm not going to hear it, so can't do that. No, not in the room. I was like, I should have rented a crowd to do that. Or if I'd have been really smart, I'd have programmed a round of applause into the stream deck, wouldn't I? And then I could have had laughs. Oh my God, that's a superb idea. I'm going to do that in the future. Just so that when I make a joke, I can press the button. Just like on Friends or something, right? That would be amazing. Kind of can brainwash people to laugh at my jokes. Okay, let's get back to the chat here. What we got? Someone's mentioning Mike here. Any access to the figures, etc. Don't know what that means. Mike, are you in the chat? Oh, you are in the chat. Oh, you are in the chat. Okay. He's lurking. That's a bit meta. He's in the room, but he's also virtually in the room. That's going to screw with my head a little bit. I'm going to have to process that. What else we got? They should take 2% of the payment for providing the platform. No need for an unsupported new token. Well, I just went through that. What else we got here? Let's go. Right. Let's check the countdown, shall we? On the actual landing page itself. Because then I can get busy with my demo, can't I? Righto. I think one thing I've noticed with the YouTube streaming platform, the timer doesn't work properly.
It's 30 seconds now.
It's what, sorry?
It's always 30 seconds, a little bit delayed.
No, I mean, the time elapsed on this current stream, it says 25 minutes, whereas that clearly isn't true, because if I look at the broadcast system, it says 52 minutes, so I don't know what's going on there. Unless that means there was a gap in the stream, doesn't really matter. Does not matter, because it's still working. Otherwise the chat would have gone ape by now, I'm sure. Righto, so let's check the timer. Let's zip over to the IndaHash landing page once again. Where were we? Here we go, 7 minutes to go. So you see this bonus scale thing right here? This is like a incentive to, if you do decide to contribute, then it's an incentive to do it sooner rather than later, because there's this bonus structure going on. So if one is to participate between today, the 8th of November, and the 15th of November, as it says right there, then there's a 40% bonus on the amount of tokens you get. In real numbers, that means pro rata for every 1 ether that is pledged during that first 7-day period, you'll receive 4,480 IDH coins. And then from then on, it goes down bit by bit right through to the end of the ICO, the 20th of December. So that's what's going to happen to me in a mo, or in 6 minutes, when I go ahead and actually pledge my 0.6 ether. I won't get the tokens right away, mind you, because there has to be a minimum threshold reached before the tokens are released by the smart contract. Now, the next logical question, of course, is what's the minimum fundraise? Let's see here. It's in the white paper. Let's see if we can find it. I did cover this in my review video, and it's escaping me right at this moment in time, but it's definitely in here. I found another interesting thing in the...
What's the minimum? What's the question?
The minimum, the soft cap before the...
320 million.
What, IDH coins?
Yes.
Okay, so there we go. So Mike has just answered that for us. The answer to the question is the soft cap, the minimum fundraising target, is to sell 320 million IDH coins. So once that minimum is reached, then the game is on and the smart contract will release the tokens, right? So someone's predicting IDH will raise to $66 after 6 months. Well, that's an interesting prediction. It's People are saying the stream is 30 seconds behind. That sounds about right to me. I think that's what Mike said as well. Not my flavor of ICO. Well, what flavor is it? It would be plum flavor, wouldn't it, if it's purple? The next logical question is, where is the address to transfer my ETH? It has not been revealed yet. So, A, stay on the IndaHash ICO page, and B, keep your inbox open. So you must pre-register on the landing page, right? A up, we've got some scammers going on here, way up. Let me just concentrate here for a second here. Got to ban someone, excuse me. Right, so yeah, just bear in mind, that was the first instance that someone just posted an address in the chat. So if anyone posts anything in the chat, you'll get banned immediately. That's point number one. Point number two for everyone else, don't take any notice of any addresses that are posted in the YouTube chat. It's not going to go in there. It's not going to go in the Telegram chat group. The only place that the legitimate Ethereum address is going to appear is on the official IndaHash ICO landing page, which is indahash.com/ICO. So stay on that page. Keep your inbox open, as I am right now, because there's going to be an email coming out when you can come and participate, you know. So I'm actually going to go to my main inbox here to see if the email has come in yet. I don't think it has, because the countdown has not reached 0. Let's see. Now I've got 3 minutes to go. There we go. Let's bring up the IndaHash ICO page. Here it is. 3 minutes 5 seconds. I did meet the IT team from IndaHash earlier on. There's quite a lot of them, and I got a bit nostalgic, I suppose, because I don't do a lot of techie stuff anymore. Not to the degree to which I used to, because that's where I kind of started my whole career. Was well, quick backstory in 2 minutes while we're waiting for this countdown. Where I first got interested in technology was when I was a kid. My dad ran a rental store that rented out, VHS movies and computer games, like Super Nintendo games and all this kind of stuff. So that was where I got my first exposure to, the digital world. I guess I kind of got imprinted, with like childhood and technology and so on. And that was all good times and so on. So it was good in the sense that as long as the games weren't already rented out by someone, I could just go and play whichever one. So that was cool. And then from there, I've always just been interested in technology. That led me to doing a computer science degree. And then after that, I started the marketing business. Actually, not true. It was web design. So that's kind of half marketing, half tech. But I've always loved doing the techie stuff. So when I went to meet the IT guys, I kind of got a throwback to the days when I used to just be like all deep in the networking stuff and used to build computers for a computer store and repair them and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of got a bit nostalgic about that. Yeah, part of me kind of misses that, to be honest. This is... it might seem glamorous, the whole live streaming thing, but there is that part of me still that wants to just tinker with my computer, right? Which I still do get to do, but I only get to tinker with my own computer and not half as much as I might like. Because if I mess it up, then my editing rig is down, right? So not good. All right, minute to go. Hopefully the IT guys are sweating right about now. So let's see what's the current price. What is IndaHash? Well, what is IndaHash? We've got the old DVR setting on YouTube, so you can scrub the live stream right back to the beginning and rewatch my explanation of that, rather than me wasting everyone else's time doing that again. If you give me the address within the next 30 seconds, no, I can't give you the address. I don't know what it is. I'm literally a third-party outside innocent bystander here. I have absolutely no clue what is going on elsewhere in the building. All I did was turn up to do the live stream, and I've got access to the various people from IndaHash themselves, but I have no inside information whatsoever. I have no influence over what's going on behind the scenes, right? 40-second lag here, probably. How much am I buying? I'm not revealing exactly how much, but for the sake of the demo, I'm going to do about 0.6 Ether because the minimum pledge is 0.5. The question of what happens if you send less than that, don't quote me on this, but I imagine the smart contract will just bounce the money back to you because that will be in the logic. All right, the countdown has reached 0. So let's see what happens now. Let's refresh the page. Let's see what happens here. This was the whole idea, was to build up to this point where it goes live. Now, the website might suddenly start loading really slow, because at the point where it reaches 0, this is the point where people are going to dive in and try and try and refresh the page just as I am, and try and get that address. Because if people are excited about this, then they're going to want to get in there sooner rather than later. So let me check my inbox actually, because that's the thing I should be doing. So if you haven't pre-registered already, make sure you do that right now. Go to the landing page. Oh, even my Google Mail won't load. What's going on? Let me check the IndaHash chat group. So again, don't pay any attention to anyone who posts anything in the IndaHash chat group. That's not where the address is going to go. It's going to go on the actual landing page itself. Neither is it going to go in the YouTube chat. So someone says, how do you participate in the ICO? Well, first of all, you pre-register by putting your email address into the landing page, and then you'll get a set of instructions on how to do it. But if you're interested, I think I've got that email open here. The steps are, let's go to the email that I'm looking at here. This came to me about 20 hours ago, yesterday, because you pre-register. This came to my email address that I registered with. So step 1 is you must prepare a token compatible wallet. In my case, I'm using MetaMask, which is a Google Chrome plugin and also an Ethereum wallet. And it allows me to control my own private key. IndaHash also recommend using myetherwallet.com. If you choose that method, you must make absolutely sure that it is myetherwallet.com spelt correctly, because there's been a number of fake copies of the MyEtherWallet site set up with the express intention of looking exactly like MyEtherWallet and then stealing people's ether. So make absolutely certain that it is myetherwallet.com in the address bar, and you can validate that twice. If I open it up, I'll show you what it should look like. The address bar should have the SSL, full company validation certificate loading, which means the green bar with the MyEtherWallet LLC text right in the address bar in green with a padlock and all that sort of stuff. So that's how you know it's the correct site. So that's step 1, to prepare a compatible wallet. Step 2 is decide how much ether you would like to contribute. And remember, the minimum amount is half an ether. And this is just, like it says in the email, due to potential KYC, they had to change it from the previous, which I think was lower than that anyway the last time, but it had to be revised. So then it says, step 3, send that ether to the smart contract address that will be available on the website any second now at indahash.com/ICO. It says you'll also receive a participation email with a link in it before the ICO opens. That's why I'm trying to refresh my Google Mail right now to see if that email has come in. Oops. I just showed my inbox. I was just talking about that. How you got to be on point. But now everyone's seen my inbox. Oh dear. Oh well, can't unsee my inbox. There's nothing particularly spurious in there, I don't think. Just a bunch of emails from Expedia about my trip to Warsaw. A bunch of people filling in the contact form on the website. Some payment confirmations, some support tickets, and all pretty boring, to be honest. So that's no bother. Although I still haven't received the old email. Not sure what's going on with that. Again, I'm with you guys on this. I am a participant just like anyone else. The fact that I'm in the building doesn't mean I have any inside info. So we'll just wait it out. Let's see what we got here. The landing page is not loading. Well, it might be because a lot of people are trying to load it at the same time. This is one of the things with popular ICOs. Oh, that's hilarious. So is this the biggest influencer IndaHash could afford? Unfortunately, yes. They had to go bargain basement on this one. Unfortunately. I think Omar Bam was taken. He was a previous engagement. That's a joke. I don't know if Omar's busy or not. It would be cool though if we had everyone here. But Michael's Hong Kong, isn't he? And then Omar's the other way. Just because I'm in Europe, it's kind of easy for me to hop over. And Mike, let's have Mike. Mike, do you want to come in? Sure. Yeah. So Mike Kubera actually, who helped us out with the Kickskill ICO. Mike Kubera in the house. Found out he actually lives in Poland. Hello.
Hey guys.
Look at
Hey,
this
Chris.
smart mofo right here, almost swore. So Mike Kubera, you know this guy. He's a commentator, content creator in the YouTube space. How you doing? Doing well?
I'm doing well. I was also refreshing the page. We're kind of excited. It's always a little
Right.
bit of nerve
Hey,
wracking.
what were you doing over there?
Me, I'm filming also. I'm going to deposit 1 Ethereum, just see how it goes. This is
Oh,
actually...
you're filming your screen over there.
Yeah, I'm filming my
That's
screen,
crazy,
but
man.
also a little bit. Because it's like,
Funny.
we're all participants here.
Yep.
And a lot of you guys watching from the camera over there, it's like, we're normal humans. We're just guys filming from our cameras. Like, you can get to this position as well. It's not like we're crazy celebrities or anything. We're also participants. We're also kind of like, and for you, you had your own ICO, so I'm sure
I
there was
did.
plenty of problems and just crazy stuff going on.
Well,
over
actually,
there.
on that, when we opened ours, we had a bit of a delay. So what happened? Oh yeah. Now, there's always this trade-off between convenience and security, right? So I'd set up the ICO on the BitShares network, and I'd set it up with a 2 of 3 multi-sig situation. So what happened was when it was time to put the ICO live, I obviously pressed the button, and nothing happened. And then I was like, what's going on? And not forgetting that I had an extra level of security there. So then I had to phone one of the key holders and be like, quick, you got to co-sign that transaction. Because it took like 5 minutes.
Right,
We
right.
went live 5 minutes late, but because it was a security thing, it was actually, that was a positive thing, you know what I mean? I'd rather be 5 minutes late because we were too secure. But even then, having planned it all out, every detail, there was still a little bit of a delay on the end there. But for that, it was for a positive reason in that case, you know?
Right,
So-
right. Security is one of the most important things with
Absolutely.
ICOs because
Yeah.
it's like you see all those phishing scams and the other
That's
ones.
what we were
where
just
it's-
talking about, yeah. Which is why I was saying keep an eye on the chats to make sure no one's posting addresses in there, because you don't want to be doing that. Only use the address that's on the page. Yeah, people are saying the page isn't loading. It's probably because it's getting mashed with traffic right now. So
The tech guys are probably stressing right now. It's just like the most challenging 12 hours probably now because it's just overloading everything. But once you get past this, boom, you're done.
right, exactly.
So
Someone did a good suggestion there, which is you might have the old page version in your browser cache. So if you clear your browser cache,
all right, let's
then
try
refresh
that
it.
out.
Let's try
see.
it. Where's the right window here?
Recording with OBS right now.
Yes, sir. Oh no, my secret. That's my secret weapon. We'll talk about it later.
Ooh.
The Oh, sorry. So this is the. Well, I'll show you right now. This is the thing, right? Did I tell you about this?
You said you had a secret weapon. That I was like, wow, that's a nice transition. going
Yeah.
on.
So like these are little LED screens, and you can link them into different scenes. So if I hit this, you know, it flicks the scenes over. I mean, that's a terrible shot down there, but you know what I'm saying?
It's fresh.
Yeah. So I can play the music or.
Oh, you got like a
everything.
little fake clap or fake music or
Well,
something?
that's what I was saying. I should have pre-programmed some fake laughs and fake claps.
Got a little
in there.
DJ going. Geez.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go here to Google Chrome's settings and see if we can clear this cache out. Oops, no, that's the wrong one, isn't it? I want to go to history.
But regardless of what's going on, even if you get into the ICO for the next week, you still get the 40% bonus. It's like there's no special gifts coming in if you're one of the first people for this.
Other than just the first tier bonus, which is
Right.
applies across the board. Anyway, there we go. Clear browsing data. Oh, my laptop is struggling.
Well, you know, you're recording like crazy with
Yeah, man.
multiple things going on. That's all G.
Here we go. So what do we want here? Cached images and files, download history. Let's clear that.
How did you feel when it was the first 5 minutes into the ICO? You saw the funds coming in. It was just like, oh my goodness. Was it excitement? Was it nervous? It's
Well, interestingly, because we did it on the BitShares exchange, people already placed a bunch of pre-orders. So literally the minute that transaction was co-signed, it just blew through all the orders and 191 Bitcoin came in like 5 seconds. So, and after that, it trickled in, right? But that was the big move. It was like, okay, that kind of works. It was just pretty sweet, man.
How did you feel as soon as it like transferred?
Oh,
did
man.
it register or did it take a couple hours to like, wow, there's 191 Bitcoin. Holy moly.
Well, the thing was, we saw that happening like 5 minutes prior to it going live. The orders started to pile in and we were like, whoa. And because we could see it happening, we thought, oh, Because prior to that, we were thinking, well, there's a relatively small number of pre-orders. Maybe this is going to be a complete flop. But people were waiting until the last minute, and then it was like 50 Bitcoin, 100, 150. And then when it went through in like a second, it was, especially when that transaction was co-signed and we saw the orders disappear, it was like, because then it was down to the technology. Yeah, but that was a big relief. But yeah, it did take a minute to sink in, actually. Okay.
See, the more you go into these ICOs, the more you kind of function into the cryptocurrency world, you realize that there's so many segments, even with this, just the live stream. So you guys see that, okay, we're filming behind like this little purple wall, but just to get to this point, like you can film from your phone and anybody can do YouTube, but as you can kind of keep moving up, you get a little microphone, you get a webcam that's on a tripod, you have multiple lights, you have multiple people in the room, you have this little cool secret weapon going on. And that's just with getting the YouTube stream going for an ICO. So if you're thinking about creating an ICO, it's like, holy moly, you need the legal team, which takes months, and I'm sure that's just crazy.
That was one of the biggest expenses.
Right.
Let me think. Probably about, let me guess. No, I'm not going to guess. I'm going to work it out. Probably 30% of the entire budget we spent on that ICO was legal fees, right? Checking with the British government and regulators, and then writing the contracts and all that sort of stuff. It was because we had to hire some special cryptocurrency lawyers, of which there's only like 2 or 3 of them in the UK, and the firm we hired, that's all they do. So they were super specialists, super busy, and we were like, this is when we want to go live.
Right.
Can you put a rush on it? And they said, well, yeah, but it's going to cost you, right? So we're like, well, we've got to pay it, because who else are we going to go to? And also, we've got to go live on this date. So they made it happen. So you can't skimp on the legals. Definitely not. You just can't do that.
And with the legal team, it's like if you go to the already established players, but just in the attorney's world, that they may not necessarily know anything about cryptocurrency. But they're like, oh, yeah, we'll accept it, but here's $50,000 that we need up front, which is a crazy amount, or $100,000 or something like that. And then they're not really going to help you. So it's like, okay, we just lost a little bit of our budget to that. Now we need to find somebody else who actually knows what they're doing. But that's just the legal aspect. We need to make sure that the coin's working. There's some other outside factors, like Ethereum's going up or down, or there's hacks or phishing scams. That's just like, there's 100 different things. So just to get this ICO over the past hour, I'm sure like there's 90 people in this building right now. They're just going, oh my goodness, what is going on?
I got my email about that it's live.
Oh, it's live. Okay, cool.
There it is. Here it is. Okay.
Gonna be doing a demo here. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a demo. Right, so let's pop this open in a new window, and then I can share it. Put that in a tab, whip that over to this browser, which is the one that's being shared.
Is it going right now, or is there going to be any private information here?
What's that?
Is there going to be any private information on this tab?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's just the email from IndaHash. So yeah, it's from token@indahash.com. That's why I popped it in a new window, because it's just the email, right?
Always got to be careful about like where the email's coming from. The
I
subject.
just made a spoon of that. I actually accidentally flipped over to screen share when it was inside my inbox. So I'm gonna have to edit that out later. But for now, if you want to go back and look at my inbox, scrub back for about 10 minutes and you'll see it. But it's pretty innocent. It's just a load of receipts for incoming memberships and whatnot. Okay, so the IndaHash ICO is live. Click and confirm you want to participate in the IndaHash pre-ICO. In case the button doesn't work, you can go directly to the webpage. Okay, so we'll hit the button anyway.
Now you did say you're using Meta for
the old
your
MetaMask up here, yeah. That's my personal preference. I do use my Ether wallet. However, I power it from a Ledger Nano S, and I left that in the UK because that's got a lot of crypto on it. So I didn't particularly want to bring that here. So, and neither did I want to set up a brand new wallet for the sake of this, because then I have to transfer some Ether to it.
Right.
Stuff, so, but yeah, here we go. Page is loading. Let's see what's going to happen next. There we go.
Okay.
So we've got terms and conditions to proceed. So absolutely make sure you read all the terms and conditions. If you can't be bothered to read it, then I have a recommendation, which is go to www.ttsreader.com. That's text to speech reader. What that will allow you to do is do it's a screen reading system. So you can paste the content of the agreements into ttsreader.com and it will read it for you. So if you can't be bothered to read it with your eyes, read it with your ears, right? But you must make absolutely sure that you understand what we've got here: the agreement on the distribution of the coins, the privacy policy, the distribution of the coins. That looks like it's repeated twice. And the fact that you are not a citizen of Singapore, China, or the United States. So if we hit all these,
And then you got to watch out, of course, the simple rookie mistakes. Make sure that the address is correct. You fully copy pasted everything.
right.
Not that
We're
it's
gonna
like
get to
one
that.
letter. Yeah.
Get to that in just one sec here. So we click continue. Right.
Okey-dokey.
So let me switch back to Facecam here so I don't reveal my details. So you're going to put in your email address here. So I'll stick in an email address. No, I'll put the other one in because I want to instantly receive any notifications.
And now, this is, do you have to be pre-registered or can anybody? Because you pre-registered for it,
I
but I
did,
didn't.
but I think that was only to receive the notification
Okay.
email.
Okay.
I think if you go to the landing page now, from scratch.
Yeah, my
You
friend
should-
just did it.
Okay, there we
Okay,
go.
cool.
Job's good, right? So cool. Make sure I spelled my email address right here. As
Joe,
Mike was just saying.
Are you investing?
Yeah, I haven't pulled any triggers yet. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to. I'm just gonna try and do it just for fun. I have I actually only have 0.6 Ether in my account, so
Right.
that's all I can even try. But I think it'll be fun.
So
I
that's
just wanna
my-
make a joke on it.
Yeah, you want to make a joke on, right? I was going to show that in a bit, but
Yeah.
so that's my email address in there. Now I need to copy my Ethereum address, which I will not show. I was just about to show that, but I won't do because I'll get. What do you call it? You call it Facebook stalking, blockchain stalking? Is that a
Well,
thing?
yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. You get some threats sometimes that people are like, oh, I'm going to reveal as much information as possible. But honestly, it's like you have to be careful with everything. There's some YouTubers out there. There's some influencers. Even I'm sure there's other influencers watching this right now. You have to be very careful, have two-step verification on for everything. And even that's not fully secure. So it's always a little bit of paranoia and skepticism goes a long way with
Yeah,
this.
the two-factor authentication thing. The big thing is not to use SMS. That's the one, isn't it? Because it's not easy, but it's too easy to port a mobile number from one device to
Right.
another and then receive the two-factor authentication on a hacker's phone. So now I've entered my email address and the ERC20 address. It does say here, attention, you can't use any cryptocurrency exchange wallet. So you must not be sending your contribution from anything like Coinbase or Bittrex or Poloniex or Kraken or any other exchange. They also say don't send it from the Jax wallet or the CoinMe wallet. So just stick to the two that are recommended. Well, actually stick to the one that they recommend, which is myetherwallet.com. That's definitely an ERC20 compatible wallet. And do bear in mind, cryptocurrency transactions on the Ethereum network are irreversible. So once the money's been sent, that's it. It's a one-way trip. Actually, it does say compatible wallets are MyEtherWallet and MetaMask, which is the one I'm going to use in a mo. So I click the confirm button here. We're still streaming Mike and myself here. So it's loading up. Okay.
Did it go through?
Not yet. I haven't sent it yet.
Ah,
So now it's saying please, and maybe I can show you this. So, yep. So now it's saying here's the participation details. Please send Ether to our smart contract. So this address should be the same for everybody, I imagine. And it says set the gas limit to 250,000, is that? So that's fine by me. Minimum participation amount 0.5 Ether. Maximum amount 300 Ether. I don't think I'll be putting 300 Ether in, mind you, but someone might want to do that. So I'll copy this address. Head over to MetaMask.
And there are caps because, you always have to worry about the whales. So if you're running an ICO or you're just wondering, you're new to the ICO world, well, why there's minimums and maximums. If somebody wanted to invest $1 million, which there are other ICOs that have received pre-sale offers that someone's like, oh, well, I want to invest $1 million, but in exchange for that, they don't want 40% or 50%. They want 100% bonus, which at that point,
Right.
you can get dumps, which...
That did happen to us, actually, and we had to refuse because everything we did with Kexcoin was transparent, right? The deal was we were launching it on the exchange itself and put in your pre-order whenever you're ready. And that meant we had a fixed price of whatever it was, 0.0025 Bitcoin per Kexcoin. That was it, right? Now, because we already created all of the tokens on BitShares, there was the 10 million coins. If we'd have done any kind of under-the-table deals, well, we would have had to shave off some of those coins and send them to someone else. That would have been transparent, right? And people would have seen that we weren't keeping our word. So the fact that we built that transparency into the model meant we couldn't be dishonest because we'd get caught straight away. So we created a kind of locked ourselves into being honest. We couldn't be any other way, even if we wanted to be, right? So that was cool. Right, so I'm sticking the address into my MetaMask, 0.6 Ether. Click a next. That's going to load up here. Now it's going to ask me what do I want my gas limit to be. So I'm going to copy this. I hope it hasn't just wiped out my transaction. I don't think it has. Come on, MetaMask.
That's really convenient, though, that it's just like a little tab right there.
Exactly. It's a software wallet, so it's not the most secure one in the world, but there we go. So gas price is 20 Gwei, 250,000 gas limit. That's a transaction fee of about $1.50. 0.6 Ether is about $181. Submit that. Assuming there are any left, we'll check that in a mo. Okie dokie, there we go. So I'll go over to, what's this called? Etherscan to check my transaction. Right, I'm not going to show that because it will display my Ethereum address. Because you can use Etherscan to interrogate any Ethereum address and then see all the tokens that are at that address, right? How much Ether is in there. If anyone has any other ERC20 token, you can see that just from looking at Etherscan. So I do store a couple of other tokens in that particular wallet, so that's why I don't want to show it.
Which,
So-
by the way, like, sorry, but
Yeah, go for it, go for it.
with crypto YouTubers, for example, there's been other ones, we're not going to name any names, but you're able to see a lot of different transactions on the blockchain. So if somebody's lying, per se, or they're like, oh, I didn't receive a donation, you're able to see, oh, okay, here's this and this amount of Ether or this and this amount of this token that they received, then you're able to question them about it. And the proof's right there. So it's convenient with this where we're going. While with previous stuff, you know, before cryptocurrencies kind of came out, be a little bit more difficult. It's kind of like shady and all that.
Yes, and even if someone did like post a copy of their bank statement, there's no way of authenticating it, right? Whereas if someone looks on the blockchain, it's right there, you know?
Public info.
Exactly. Okay, so that's gone through. Ended up paying a 75-cent transaction fee, so it was processed way before I reached that gas limit. So that's it. That's my Ether in the bag. That's X number of... Actually, we can work it out. If we go back to the page here, hit this button. So, Windows calculator time.
3,000.
Not
probably
Windows,
somewhere around
not
there.
Windows calculator. We'll use the phone because that will stop my laptop getting crushed. So if it was 1 Ether, it's 4480 times 0.6. So it's 2,688 IDH coins that I'm due now for that 0.6 Ether contribution. The next question is, when are we going to reach 320 million coins sold? I don't know. There's no tracker on here. Now, did I refresh this since I cleared the cache? Don't know. But sometimes you see an amount
Right.
collected. I mean, if that doesn't happen, we can just interrogate the smart contract. As we were just saying, we can actually see the contributions coming in on Etherscan. That'd be cool, you know. Whether they want us to do that or not doesn't matter.
Now with this project, while we're kind of waiting for all this to go through,
There we go.
probably some of you guys out there are a little bit suspicious because you're suspicious of cryptocurrencies or ICOs in general. And just you being here, you had to research the ICO. You had
Of
to
course.
research the company.
I had to research it to do my review.
Right, right. And yesterday you were saying that it takes you 3 days to go through everything. Could you kind of go through like what the steps you take in order to find out, oh, this is an actual valid ICO? Because if you review an ICO that goes bad, you guys, well, Chris will hear your response if it goes bad, and the reputation of a YouTuber kind of goes down, especially. So you really, really do need to do your research.
Absolutely. So what I do is I go on a little treasure hunt for truth claims. So I start with the white paper, and I actually read the white paper using that tool I just mentioned, which is TTS Reader. So actually, this is also a Chrome plugin, Mike, if you want to check this out. So whenever you're on a web page, let's say I'm on the IndaHash ICO page, for example.
That was the text-to-speech?
Yeah,
reader?
it's TTS Reader, so this is a Chrome plugin. So if I hit this and then tell it to read the page,
Okay.
it then pulls in the text, and then if I hit this,
Introducing IndaHash ICO. 130-person team with 7 officers across the globe, along with...
so that's how I read white papers. I don't read them, I blow through them, put it on the fastest setting, right? And so I'm listening for truth claims, like let's see here. IndaHash has over 300,000 influencers, or they're in 70 countries. Numbers are pretty good. So anything like that, I'll make a note of it and see if I can verify it for myself independently somewhere else, right? When, last night I was saying I now have an application process. If an ICO comes to me and says, will you do a sponsored video? One of the questions in the questionnaire I have them fill out is, what's the name of the company behind the ICO? Because that's a key bit of information. I'm continually staggered by ICOs that don't actually list the company behind the project. In the footer of the website, there's no physical address, there's no telephone numbers, there's no companies. You can't do that in the UK. When we did the Kexcoin ICO, just having any website, it's a legal requirement that you list the company and the company number and the address and all that kind of stuff, just for any website, right? Let alone an ICO. So that's when I really started to see the pattern, because we had to comply with all this. Then I started to notice nobody else does this. No one else actually says what company's behind it. And I want to know that because I want to know if there is a real company behind it, or is it just two dudes from different parts of the world that thought, hey, this is a good idea, let's throw up a webpage and get busy. So is the company real? How long ago was it established? Is it in the industry sector that they claim it to be, right, through the SIC code, things like that? Are the directors on the website actually the directors of the company? And these were all things that we went overboard on with the Kexcoin ICO. We're saying, look, all our faces on the website. We made sure that when we shot the promo video, that all 5 of us were in the promo video shot in the same location at the same time. So you could tell all 5 of us knew each other, right? It wasn't like you shoot a video and then we'll chop it together.
Right.
So there was 3 points of validation. You could watch the video and see we were all there. That matched the people on the page. And then we linked to company's house and said, this is Kexcoin Limited. Click directors, you'll see Chris Coney, Mike Lee, Simon Lee, Richard Stott, etc. So these are the things I try and validate. All I'm trying to do is catch them out on
any lies,
anything that they're claiming to be true. I'm basically trying to verify or falsify it. So that's what I spend a lot of time doing, because a 38-page white paper has a lot of truth claims in it, right? Especially this person is involved. So with IndaHash in particular, who did I find? There's that guy Buck, who's a smart contract security auditing expert. So I was like, okay, they're claiming to have hired this dude to audit their smart contract. So I went and did tons of background checks on this guy. I found out what his private consulting company was called. I looked at some of his previous clients, made sure they were real. I found his own personal GitHub where he posts all the smart contracts that he's working on. And I found 3 or 4 other ICOs that had hired him and ones he'd finished. And what he does, and I mentioned this in the review video, if he finds a security flaw, he publishes it on GitHub and says, this is the security flaw, this is my recommended fix. And I was like, wow,
yeah.
That's a massive incentive for the ICO to fix that, because he's just published a security flaw to the world. And if he doesn't fix it, someone's going to exploit it. So I thought, wow, that's cool. And further to that, the one that was created like a few days prior to me looking at it was IndaHash smart contract project in progress. So there was a link, right? He'd independently validated the fact that he was involved in IndaHash as a project, and he was in fact auditing the smart contract, right? So it's incredibly time consuming, because you find what seems like an innocent truth claim,
right,
but to validate it takes maybe 30 or 40 minutes to dig and search, and all I'm doing is just checking off that one truth claim, which is why it takes 2 to 3 days to do. But like you said, the cost of failing to do that level of diligence is just too expensive not to, right? So that's why I do it.
You need to do diligence with
Right.
just as a participant, but when you're a participant and an influencer,
Right.
with hundreds, possibly thousands of people out there, and your reputation, the long-term consequences for future companies that you're working with, future relationships that could be worth even millions of dollars. At that point,
Very true.
it does get really expensive, and 2 to 3 days, it's worth it. So for anybody out there watching this right now, it's actually kind of surprising. Even just for my channel alone, I've seen a lot of comments where it's like, okay, I have this and this amount of money, just throw something at me, and what altcoin do I pick?
Just tell me what to do.
Tell me what to do.
Oh, my Lord.
And it's like they watch that one video. It's almost as if we said it, like, oh, okay, here's this and this coin. Boom, they buy it. Like, wait. Did you check out other YouTubers?
Right.
Did you ask your family, friends what they thought about just our opinion, let alone the coin, and like looking into it and the history and the team? And there's this giant list that you go through where it's
Right.
like some even simple things like SEO or marketing, you look up, oh, okay, there's fake likes, or the SEO is a little bit off. They don't care about the fact that their third result is, oh, okay, they plagiarized the white paper, which, wait, they plagiarized the white paper.
Right.
Okay. And then it's just like this rabbit hole that goes further down, and a lot of people, it takes, honestly, 5 minutes just to find at least the giant red flags.
Yes.
You have the good companies and you have the bad companies, and the bad ones will stick out, which unfortunately you guys will.
That's a good point.
With like 5 minutes, a lot of people I've noticed in cryptocurrencies, it's kind of like 2001, where a lot of people are just like, oh, okay, money, 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 money.
Fear of missing out.
And it's really not worth it. You have to be curious.
I agree with you on that. I think 15 minutes of research will rumble 80% of the scams just with that bit. And I don't need to go to the levels that I go to.
Right.
Not even close. But I'm trying to minimize that remaining 20%. I'm trying to squash that as small as possible. And even if it passes all the tests, that's still not a guarantee of success, because this is cryptocurrency world. And even IPOs don't necessarily guarantee success either, because that's a business thing. That's the law of averages. There's plenty of statistics published about the business failure rates and so on. So that's on top of the risk of cryptocurrency. So that's another reason why I never invest more than you can afford to lose. I don't know how many times we have to say that, but that is the core principle of any time you put your money into anything. You have to be prepared to write it off completely and it not affect your life in any way, shape or form.
Now, do you have the white paper maybe up for?
Yes,
for this?
indeed. I have the white paper.
Because with any company, of course, there's so much to manage that nothing's perfect. You're always going to find these little bits and pieces, which earlier in the chat, a couple people were interested about various things. So first off, there was some concerns in the white paper, and then off with the application. But I'm not really sure whether. Let's go through it. So do you know where the graphs were? I think they were halfway through. Ryan, if you're still here, this is for you. Anybody else might be a little bit curious about this. So I think it was further up on the page.
So that's page up.
Always got to look through all this stuff and just kind of see what's going on, what's more biased a little bit, because no, I think it was all the way up. You know the graphs with like the 350%, the 200% growth, something like that?
Okay. Let's go right back to the beginning then, shall we?
Okay, cool.
And start again.
Which, by the way, just looking at the white paper for this, I was impressed personally by the graphics and the way that it stands out, because you do have ICOs there's like 5 pages, 10 pages, 15 pages, and these are very simple things. Immediately within the first 30 seconds you see, okay, it's a longer white paper. They have the legal requirements. They have some images, not only just images, but it all stands out. It all works together. Okay, so there we just passed some facts, but it's a little bit further.
You want actual graphs?
Yeah. So
there's Barbara, which you just saw. So she's real. No, I wasn't calling you. It's okay. Influence in 70 countries.
70 markets. That's interesting. Let's see. I think it's 2 more pages, possibly.
Okay.
This I saw from the. Okay, here we go. Here's the graphs. So I was looking through when this project first came into my ear, which, by the way, was interesting because I just got overwhelmed with ICO emails. There's just too many. So I ignored Ali at first. I was like, I did actually. It's like I didn't want to, and I feel bad about ignoring people, but whatever. So it's always persistence is good. But with this, what's interesting, so we see the x-axis, yeah? Mm-hmm. What about the y-axis for both this and the other chart? What do you think about that?
Well, what's this measuring like?
Yeah.
What are these levels?
Because we see, okay, it has 295% growth, and the other one 352%. We see the time. It's growing. That's cool, but for this, for example, other people from Bitcoin Talk noticed this, and I think it was later answered a little bit, but just as somebody who's viewing something like this, what's going through your head when you see this?
Yeah, so your question is like, how do you quantify this, right? It's a good question. It's a very good question. Now, I seem to think there was other hard numbers on that later on. There we go, like things like this. So that is the growth in the number of influencers, and so this is actually measured.
Okay, so the second one is measured. The first one isn't, though.
Well, I think that's because it's cash money measurements.
Do you think that... because there was another question revolving around that. Should companies have it all public, or does it get a little bit like a security issue? Just for example, with your own ICO, with your own company, were you releasing all the details? Because you do have to also be very careful. If you release too many details, then you think about the other companies, the competition. That might be a flaw.
Right. Well, for let's go back to KEXCoin again as a good model. So we'd already promised to completely publish the accounts for the KEXCoin Limited. But for the company that created the ICO, the KEXGIL company, which was an ongoing concern, no, we didn't publish their accounts because that was none of anybody's business, quite frankly. The solvency of the company behind it didn't actually affect the KEXCoin ICO. You know what I'm saying? And also perhaps why it's important to know the company name behind the ICO. So you can at least do some background checks on that. Like, I don't know how it works in Poland, but if it is IndaHash Inc. or whatever the company name is, there was probably a similar company register that you could look at.
IDH Media.
You're right, exactly. So in the UK, you have to publish certain documents every year, like your accounts and so on. However, until you are selling more than, I think it's £6 million a year of goods and services, when you pass that threshold, you then have to actually publish all your accounts, right? But prior to that, the government's like, well, small business, you can keep those details private, you know? So let's dig into that even further. The question about the sales figures, where's the white paper? These, why do we want to know this? Like, what would this tell us? You know what I mean? You know where we're going with that? So what are we looking for? Are we looking for validating the truth claim in case this is like 295% growth from, you know, $100 a month to $395 a month? That would technically be a 300% gain, right? But it's on what sort of a figure? Now, while we don't know the answer to that, I doubt that these guys could sustain an operation like this, having looked around it, unless they were pulling in some serious coin. And it also, one of the kind of points, I think it's in the white paper, that IndaHash was profitable by the 6th month of its existence. Barbara, that was right, wasn't it? Is she there?
Barbara?
Barbara? Hello?
Yes.
Hey.
Hello. So that's one of your claims to fame. You said that IndaHash was profitable like 6 months after its creation?
Yeah, something like this. Maybe
Okay.
even earlier.
Okay, interesting. So do you think that helped the growth because you were able to sort of self-fund it?
I think it helps.
Yeah.
And it also proves, if you have campaigns, clients,
Mm-hmm.
it is a proof of concept.
Right.
It shows that the product makes sense. People want to buy it. People want to pay for that. If you have reoccurring clients, then it's even more good
Right.
because you know that someone was satisfied with the service they got.
Right, gotcha. What we're talking about this graph here. Is there any particular reason why you didn't put hard figures on this? Because we looked at the number of growth in influencers, whereas the actual sales graph
Sure.
doesn't have any references at the side here. Is there a reason for that?
We didn't put numbers here. I think that many ICOs are not able to show any growth. We didn't disclose that also because we have we would have to consult it internally, also with our fund, if we're able to show this kind of numbers. So we decided to show the growth and a comparison from the first quarter to third quarter year over year.
Okay, gotcha. Sweet. So
That's just one of the things you go through when you're going through a white paper. Now, just because there's one little thing, one little red flag that starts to go off, you have to investigate that and see if there's other things that kind of go along with that. And as we were discussing, is this important? You also have to kind of prioritize certain things. So that's always interesting to kind of just go into that and also debate with other people about it. Because as soon as, it doesn't even have to be anybody from the ICO, just talk about it with your friends like, oh, okay, why do you think the company did this? Let's put ourselves in the company's perspective.
is there a rational reason for it?
Right.
Yeah, sure, I got you.
With this, let's kind of go a little bit away from maybe the white paper for now.
Okay.
But there was a lot of comments out there about, well, just look up any company, any large company, and you'll see reviews. Now, with the application here, that's approaching 400,000 influencers. That's a lot of influencers there. And so you have to keep that in mind, because with 400,000 influencers, you're going to get thousands of reviews. And not everybody is really an influencer, as in like you have a bunch of people with a couple hundred followers that don't really do this as a job. It's kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. I know people from friends and school and something like that, 500, 600, 700 followers, which you need 700 for the app now. But there was 600 bad reviews last time I checked. And with the reviews...
What was that for?
With the application.
Okay.
So there was some reviews saying that the campaigns didn't work fully for them. And I was actually looking at this the other day. I signed up. First of all, if there's anybody claiming that within the first couple of hours it doesn't work, there is a 24-hour approval period. For my account, I had to wait a little bit.
Right.
And there was one person in my chat who had 20,000 subscribers, and he said, okay, he's been using the application for over 2 months now. So I was like, okay, there's a little bit, this leads me to inquire a little bit further about what's going on here. And he addressed that there's some concerns with the way everything's a little bit functioning with the campaigns, that not all campaigns are working. So you click on it and then it says expired, or that there's problems with payments processing. Now, of course, looking at it from a company perspective, if you have such rapid growth, it is very difficult to manage everything. For example, one of our favorites, Coinbase. Coinbase has grown crazily, and
It's probably one of the most successful companies in the space, right?
it's very successful.
Successful, right?
Successful, but the reviews, oh, you start reading that and it's terrifying. If you just look at the reviews of Coinbase, or for example, Comcast or Time Warner Cable, or any really nice, Poloniex, Bitrex, you look at the exchanges, you look at all these companies. So you have to look at both bad reviews and the good reviews as well. But what do you think about that when you see an application? It has 3.3 stars last time I checked. Do you go through the reviews? Do you see, oh, okay, what's this talking about? Bad campaigns? Do you kind of look into that a little bit further?
I didn't, actually, not to that level. I signed up with the app myself, and it actually worked pretty well for me. So my direct experience with it was pretty good. However, kind of making me look bad now, because that was an angle I probably missed, which was looking at the reviews of the app itself. So I personally didn't do that, but you can bet your boots I'm probably going to be doing that in the future.
But again, there's so many things that,
It
for
seems
example,
you could check. Like,
right. There's certain things you already mentioned while I was over there. I was like, oh, I'll keep that in mind. I have to look into that next time. Or
because the
you
research
learn
has
from
to
it.
end somewhere.
Right.
That's the counterbalance to it. So I had to set a time limit, because otherwise I would just go on forever, right? Then there has to be a boundary to it, because that, like we were saying, the biggest gains to be had in terms of research and due diligence, it's a law of diminishing returns. So the first, what did I say, 15 to 30 minutes, you'll get the most gains out of that in terms of figuring out if it's just fundamentally flawed, and then the longer it goes on, the less worthwhile it is, sort of thing. So there has to come a point where you got to stop, because otherwise I would go on forever.
Right.
So let's check. Some people are talking about how much is coming in here. So let's go back to Etherscan and see if we can see how much has been pledged to the contract so far. So let's refresh this.
Now, while this is going, can I get my laptop?
Yeah, go for it, mate. Go for it.
I'll donate. Well, not donate.
That's sometimes what I call it. Okay.
Invest 600 as well.
So what we got? About $1 million has come in so far.
Ooh.
1,025 transactions, about 3,400 Ether. Still coming in, confirming, pending.
Okie dokie. We'll get out gotta record.
Okay, cool.
All the little things from being a YouTuber. Gotta get the mic, make sure that the echoes. We have soundproofing in this
That's
room.
right.
And people complain about the smallest thing. Oh, okay, so the pocket square is off a little bit. Oh, I don't like the purple. Or I don't like the way your hair's going. Don't focus on the little things in life. I mean, it's good to observe them, but don't get
obsessed with them, right?
Okie dokie, let's see. Always got to make sure not to reveal any important details.
Exactly.
So I didn't sign up for that email, but we'll just try through the application itself. So just click here, yeah.
Okay, that's the answer to that question. You can go straight to the landing page and just click on the button, and away you go. Ooh. Well, that is a serious Gorilla Pod for a serious camera. I don't think my little one would handle that very well.
I actually had one of those little ones, and it broke, unfortunately, so I had to buy 2 more for just the little phone. I still don't know how to fully work with this, because it's like everyone was like, okay, you got to buy a camera. After 7 years of doing YouTube channels, I decided, oh, okay, well, maybe it's time. But we're learning. As with everything, you got to, if you're an entrepreneur, it's always learning and education with this. With cryptocurrencies, I'm sure you know a lot about cryptocurrencies that I just fall out. I'd be like, oh, okay, the technical aspects of things. For the viewers out there, if you're not in this constantly, you will get lost with certain things. So you have to focus on what you're best at, what you're most interested in, and how it will help you. Because you can't be like, oh, okay, well, here's Bitcoin's hard fork, here's Ethereum's hard fork, here's like 200 other ICOs that I'm focusing on. And then your mind's all over the place because you're just going to get lost with that. Mm-hmm. So we're here on the ICO. Okay, of course we have read everything. No, yeah, gotta be careful. But
so there's a question coming here saying, are you planning on selling the ether to fund the company, or is that how are you planning? Because I imagine they're going to have to turn, if not all of the ether, back into the national currency, Z's. in order to fund the development, because the developers are going to get paid in the national currency and so on. So I imagine, yes, they're probably going to do that. When Mike comes back in here, if he ever does, we'll ask him. Can you find out the answer to that, Joe? Yeah. So what are you going to do with the ether? Are you going to...
I'm not equipped to answer that.
Okay. So Joe's going to try and find out for us.
What's Mike do? Because
well,
is he the tech guy?
I know Mike has been my key contact for ICO related questions. So what's his technical role? What's his title?
He works in the creation room. He's a creative. So if during the ICO he's been he's up to date on cryptocurrencies, and he's a native English speaker, which is cool.
Okay.
He's really articulate young man. So he has been helping us field questions on the website. And same with but it's not just him, but he's kind of like our go-to. So he's kind of been online for the past 3 weeks or more than that, just like fielding all the questions through.
Right, cool.
But after the questions are over, he'll be doing creative stuff, so helping create briefs with
Right, gotcha.
stuff, yeah.
So there's people asking how many ether is it to reach the minimum cap. So let's try and work that out, shall we?
320 million with the pre-ICO.
Yes.
40%. Okay.
320 mil divided by 4480. It's 71,428.
71,000.
Yep. I think we're way off that.
That's around like what? Let's see, 71,428 times 300. 21 million. 21,428. So if all the
That's US dollars.
Yeah, okay, so that's right. The UK audience out there, which is probably like 24 million. Great, no, because it's
more like
less.
30 million pounds.
Okay.
No, it's the other way
Oh,
around.
it's other
like
way
15
around.
million, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a fair amount, but that's of course with the pre-ICO bonus of 40%. If it goes down to 20%, then $21 million could go to $25 million. Goes down to 10% normal ICO. So anywhere from 21 to $30 million is what we're looking at.
And you know what's crazy right now? If we go over to Etherscan, look there. Sponsored link, IndaHash.
Wow.
ICO. Check it out. Now, that's kind of queer. Does that know that we are on the contract page right now? Or is that going to be across
No,
Etherscan?
see, I'm looking at it from the aspect that Google and all the websites are tracking.
Yeah,
Okay.
Targeted ad,
Yeah, you want on IndaHash? Cool. We'll just throw as many advertisements as we can.
I don't know if that is how Etherscan do it, though, because I thought let's have a look in the footer here. I thought they dealt with advertising directly. No, doesn't look like they do. But so you might be right there. Because normally when it's a Google ad, it has a little tag there that you can say, what the hell's this? And it'll tell you what's going on here. So Mike right now is on his laptop. He's using the My Ether wallet to film his pledge. Now, I suppose you can do a voiceover on that later, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not too worried
I was
about
say
it.
because I've just mucked it up otherwise.
What did you send your gas limit to? 250,000?
It was 250,000.
Do you think 125,000 is too small?
Well, it's always to go higher because it's not going to use it all. It's just that
okay.
the limit is just to make sure that the transaction doesn't spend beyond a certain budget.
Always got to make sure that everything's going through. All transfers to KYC. That's fine. See, that's actually interesting for me because I'm a U.S. citizen, but I'm also a Polish citizen. So technically, I'm not allowed to participate. But since I'm in Poland and I'm a Polish citizen, I don't know.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes.
We're
today.
going legal. We're going legal.
Right.
If I was in America right now, though, that'd be an unfortunate situation. Which for you guys out there affected by the SEC, again, sorry, but that is an interesting thing to bring up with your local legislators, and also kind of looking up the future of ICOs, because U.S. is a giant market that was just like, oh, well, now there's regulation, which that's weird because we're in a decentralized world where companies and regulations, yikes, it's definitely affecting it. What do you think about the future with further regulations? Because do you think it stops now, or do you think it's going to go a little bit further?
Well, two things. One, what you were just saying about the dual citizenship thing. If you had to KYC yourself, you just submit your Polish passport,
Right.
and then boom, you're clear. So that's not a problem. If you pretended to be Polish and then got KYC'd and were actually American, and then you'd be in hot water. So don't do that. So with the regulation, the first signs of that were the Tezos situation, which is interesting because that was backed by some serious names. I don't think that's a good look for them, because like the advisors for projects are kind of A, important, but B, are also taking somewhat of a risk. Because Tezos was backed by just people you'd heard of, that probably legitimized it in a lot of ways, but also now mean that now it's kind of the ship's tilting a little bit. That's not a good look for that. Now, just like with anytime there's people losing money, obviously the degree that the money is lost, the regulators are going to look at that and see how it resolves itself. The DAO fiasco, for example, I think the regulators were watching that going, let's see how it plays out. In that situation, because the blockchain was rolled back and everyone got their money back, there was no victims. So the regulators were like, that's okay. As long as everyone resolves it amongst themselves and no one is losing money as a result, regulation not required. However, then when you get the Mt. Goxes and when you get
Cryptsy and the little smaller ones and whatever's going on right now, who knows?
And guaranteed, just the law of averages would state that given the number of ICOs that have happened, 80-20 principle, say 20 of them go sour, they never materialize a product, all the money that was pledged to them just vanishes in expenses. Not necessarily say people ran away with the money, it just might be that the company burned through it in development costs and running expenses and office expenses. If that money runs out and the product isn't launched and there's no revenue, it's going to collapse, right? That's just the way it's going to be. Now, if that happens enough times, enough people complain about it, that's going to, again, attract unnecessary and unwanted regulatory attention to the detriment of everybody else, right? So I don't think that the regulation is done yet. I think it's going to get a lot tighter as time goes on. So with that on the one hand, on the other hand, as the regulators start to actually feel the impact of the transformation, with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and blockchains, eventually it will get so close to even what they do that they're going to have to start pushing back. Otherwise, they're going to be extinct by the very fact that it's moving towards them like the fog, right? You know what I mean? So they're not going to sit there and let it consume them, right?
What about UK regulations? How are they right now? Because US is obviously limited. China, bye. But what about what's going on over there?
In the UK, the Financial Conduct Authority, as they're called, they have put out an advisory saying, this is our official stance on this is what an ICO is. Just be aware, the space is unregulated, the companies running them are unregulated, it's high risk, yada yada. There are currently no regulations around it right now, so you can participate if you want to. However, you're not protected by any of the deposit insurance schemes or the financial ombudsman or the Financial Conduct Authority. So there's no regulations around it right now. They are aware of it, but they're just leaving it be for the time being and letting people be responsible for their own money for the time being. So, like I said before, that's going to be okay unless lots of people start losing lots of money to projects that are clearly, scams.
Right.
So that happens. If it's a case of people are losing money just because the companies are failing because the product was lukewarm or the market wasn't there or just competition killed them, I don't think that's the business of the regulators. That's just business.
Normal, yeah.
That is absolutely normal. So I don't think that would be the grounds upon which regulation could be brought in. It would have to be the bad actors and the cowboys misbehaving that would cause the regulations to rise in the UK, you know. And because we've got such a strong finance sector, I think the regulators are wary of stamping that out and pushing that innovation outside the country, because no doubt about it, the financial industry in the UK is going to be impacted by the whole cryptocurrency thing. So we have two choices. We can either be hostile to it and basically lose our world-class hold on, you know, being a hub of finance, or we transform into the #1 country in the world for supporting cryptocurrency companies. So I'd say I hope the regulators are smart enough to see or have the wisdom to transform rather than just hand off at the crown jewels of the UK, which is the finance sector, to anybody who's willing to take it on. You know, any country could become the hub. You know,
Right.
Switzerland, Singapore,
Who knows?
whoever's most regulatorily friendly to it.
And this happens really quickly. That over a
Oh,
couple
yes.
months, everything changes. I mean, a couple months ago, China was fine. That was everybody was looking at China because there was a lot of money, a lot of investors. Than that, the U.S., Russia's a little interesting. You got new countries coming in, new markets completely. Now Christmas is coming around, the holidays.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who get like maybe not a Bitcoin, but just a little bit of Bitcoin, like a little paper wallet. Oh, hey, I just found out about this cool thing. It's called Bitcoin, honey. Did you know about it? Check it out. It's been growing. Here you go.
Oh, did you hear Barbara's story yesterday when I said, just take me back, where did you first hear about cryptocurrency that led to this whole project?
Right.
And she said a friend of hers who was mining Bitcoin gave us some Bitcoin as a birthday gift. Boom, first awareness. And that began a process that led to this whole thing that we're doing right now. Kind of crazy, you know? And so like you say, that's going to happen more and more as people are enthusiastic about it. The best way to get someone's attention is give them a little piece of Bitcoin, and then they're like, oh, okay,
Cool.
put it to one side, and then if it starts going up in value, they'll be like, huh, maybe I should take this more seriously, you know? Kind of cool.
Guys, well, Christmas is coming, you know. Your
Yeah.
loved ones, if you're running out of ideas, a Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, maybe some Steam or Dash or Monero or whatever you want to choose. Maybe make your own coin. Ooh, who
And
knows?
then give that as a gift.
Oh, got to get creative.
Oh, man. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
With your project, what? Because there's a lot of interesting things going back off of how Barbara got started with this. That was through the gift. When did you first get into cryptocurrencies?
3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember the first time I heard the word Bitcoin, but being technical background and so on, reading the news and so on, you always hear of some newfandangled technology that promises to save the world, but it's like so early in its development. 9 times out of 10, you just never hear from them again,
Right.
because they're, you know, out of this world and you know, never going to materialize. So I put it in that pile to begin with. I was like, oh yeah, digital currency kind of sounds interesting. And then somehow I stumbled on it again, like it found me, if you like, on my travels around the internet, and then again, and then again. And every time I saw it, I learned a bit more about it. So my understanding was growing by accident, really. And then there must have been a tipping point where enough of the pie was full for me to go, oh, I think I see something here. And that's when I actively turned my attention towards it, and then fell down the proverbial rabbit hole from there. So that was studied Bitcoin, then found BitShares was the next thing I looked into, and then on from there, really. So that was my baptism of fire. It was cool.
And then you made your own company, and well, of course, with the other co-founders, you were on the board.
Right.
That's
Well, that was
quite
the thing.
quite a step.
The time when I found out about Bitcoin and decided to turn my attention towards it, I wasn't doing anything in business. I'd sold my marketing agency probably, 3 or 4 months prior. So that had created a bit of a vacuum where I was actively looking what to do next. The thing I was actually doing at the time was the guy that trained me in hypnosis and NLP and so on, Philip Underwood, that's who I trained with. And
Hypnosis. That's,
yeah. Oh yeah, of course. You know, student of the mind. Any understanding I can gain from that, and also trying to understand myself. That's a whole other story. So I thought I'd been doing internet marketing for many years, and then what bugged me out was using my skills and making other people tons of money when I should have just been using them to feather my own nest, right? And I was like, this is dumb. I've been doing this for 7 years and I'm still essentially have a job. Even though it was a business, it was still a 9 to 5 grind, and it was still like trying to make sales to make the next month's money and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why I didn't connect the two things together. I'm like, I have this skill set, right? Why can't I just use them on myself? Start an e-commerce store or something. And this is why I sold the agency and thought, right, I'm going to do this for myself now. So I thought, what can I do? And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call Philip Underwood. We're going to do a workshop. I'm going to film one of his workshops, and then we're going to turn it into like an online course, like an online stress management course type of thing, which I called the stress control system, I think it was called. So we did like a free workshop, got a bunch of people in there. I shot the whole thing, edited the whole thing, put it on the internet. No one bought it because the stress market, there's so much free information out there, and also just people's mindset towards stress. I don't think people want to pay for that kind of information. And that took me probably 6 months and a lot of money to figure that out, right? In running ads, and I could get people to download the free stuff, but when it came to like buying a full-blown course or anything, no one bit. And nowadays, the money that is made in the stress market are things like, $3 apps that have guided meditations on them and things like that. So trying to sell a $300 stress management course set of DVDs or whatever it was at the time was not happening. Just was not happening. So that didn't work out. So of course I was open to what next. And then when I'd had all these impressions with Bitcoin and thought, wow, this is serious, I then identified the gap in the market being the education gap. I thought there was nowhere because I had to gather my understanding from all over the place, and I had to sort of piece it all together from lots of different people, lots of different sources, and I'm like, why isn't there just an A to Z guide of starting like what's this Bitcoin thing and ending with a actual understanding of it? And that became the first course that I created. That became Cryptoversity, and then out of that was born the podcast to raise awareness of the courses. So that was the sort of chronology of how that came about.
Did you ever look at Udemy and were inspired by that, or did other competitors?
It's a good point.
I like what you said about the because yesterday during the dinner, I think it was like, there's no competitors, there's only opposition.
Yeah, no competition, only opposition. Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I don't know where I got that from. I've got tons of those. I don't know. I can't give credit to the owners because I didn't come up with that myself. I've collected all of these little axioms that kind of make me feel better about just doing me. It gives me permission to just do your thing. And then your tribe will find you, type of thing.
I like it.
So, what was the question?
With Udemy and the courses,
yeah,
did you ever see that and we're like, oh, maybe that's kind of cool, or what got you going into? Well,
that's actually that's a piece I missed. I put that first course on Udemy before I started an online school. And I tell you what put me off Udemy is that they absolutely screw the instructors. Quite frankly, the market is kind of addicted to discounts. I don't know, the supermarkets might have done that to them or whatever, but some people just never buy anything until it's on offer. And Udemy have just completely gone after that market. And because Udemy are the platform owners, they don't really care who's selling the courses, just as long as courses are being bought on their platform.
Right.
They don't care if it's one person making all the money. That's an extreme example, but their profitability relies on just volume coming through the platform. So as long as courses are selling, they make money. Now, I'm not saying they don't care about the instructors. I'm just saying that if you examine the model, their incentives aren't aligned very well, right? Their incentives aren't aligned in such a way that instructor success is their success. It is, but they don't really care about any individual as such. Because if your courses aren't selling, there is no incentive for them to help you out with it, other than just give you the guidance and then it's potluck. So there was no way I was ever going to make a living out of teaching people about Bitcoin if I stuck to Udemy. So that's when I thought I'm going to have to branch out into starting my own online school, specifically like a little Udemy for cryptocurrency info, rather than just launching course after course after course. So that's why I did that. Yeah, that's where Cryptoversity came from. So, yeah.
Not bad. There's a lot going on here. How do you manage all that? The Cryptoversity, the channel, ICOs that you're investing in and partaking in sponsorships, and then also your own and possibly other ventures. Are you ever overwhelmed at times?
There's something that Brian Tracy taught me way back. he said, he was talking about time management, right? And that's a big industry, right? And some people kind of glibly say there's no such thing as time management. You can only manage yourself or your energy or whatever. But I think the biggest lesson I got was probably the best book I've ever read, and I evangelize whenever I get the opportunity, is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Stephen Covey.
Right, Stephen Covey. So the subtitle is it's the 7 habits of highly effective people, not highly efficient people. That's the problem with time management, is that you're trying to manage a fixed resource. And I suppose that's the argument against time management. So the question was, how do I get overwhelmed? Not since I applied this framework. So back to Brian Tracy, which kind of links to this. So he says, stop thinking, how do I get caught up? Because if you've ever met anybody that got it all done, have you ever met anybody that actually crossed everything off their to-do list and then was done? And of course not, right? The best you can do is get a blank to-do list at the end of the day. You wake up the next day, what happens? It refills itself. And most people, before they've even got to the bottom, it extends, right? And then you cross a few more off and it extends. So it actually gets longer faster than you can actually check stuff off. So asking yourself the question of how do I get caught up, you're already playing a losing game. So Brian Tracy says, you change the question to, okay, since I know I can only do a few things, what are the few things that I can do that will make the most difference? And that brings us back to the 7 habits of highly effective people, not highly efficient people. Efficient would be like spending as little time on the task as possible to get it done, where it says nothing about the impact, right? So when Stephen Covey draws out the 4 quadrants of urgent and important, or not urgent and not important, most people spend their time in quadrant 1, which is urgent and important stuff. The phone's ringing, right? It's urgent. It's demanding my attention, and the irresistible urge to pick it up, right? The real big wins are to be had in the second quadrant, which is important but not urgent. I'll get round to it. I'll get round to building my own website for Cryptoverse. I'll get round to starting a podcast. I'll get round to improving it. I'll get round to. So you just get trapped in that first quadrant. And this is why I talk so much about meditation, because the discipline to ignore the ringing telephone, that's powerful, right? It might seem urgent, but let it ring. Let it go to answer phone, decline the call, right? Because I've already decided what's in quadrant 2. So it becomes less about managing time and more about prioritizing. So back to Brian Tracy, since you're always going to neglect something, you best neglect the stuff that's the least important, because it's okay to neglect something. And you've got to accept the fact you're going to neglect something, because you've got a bigger list than you'll ever do. So you best make sure you're only neglecting the least important things that make the least difference, and starting your day on the most important things that make the most difference. Then you can be free, knowing full well I'm not going to get it all done. All I have to do is make sure that I'm focusing on the most important, most high impact thing, and then do as much work as I possibly can, right? That's it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, do you meditate daily or how?
Yes, every day. Yeah.
For how long?
1 hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Early morning or at night?
I used to do it first thing in the morning, but I've changed that now to be sort of mid-afternoon. So I kind of have a break in the business day. So at 3 or 4 o'clock, I'll bail, go do an hour, and then come back and do some more. So, yeah.
That's good. Now, for some of the viewers out there, you might have never meditated. Personally, I've always found it very difficult. I went to retreats and Buddhist temples, and that's much easier because it's an environment set up for that. But when you're sitting an hour in a certain position, or this, or however you want to go about it, or 2 hours, it starts to get a little bit painful, both physically and then mentally. You have all these thoughts where it's very interesting for people. How do you handle that? Do you get pain anymore, or did you ever get it from the beginning?
I'd say the biggest thing that holds people back is the belief that meditation is meant to clear the mind. It's not the goal, right? And people think I'm failing if my mind isn't clear. That's not the goal. The goal is to not let the thoughts grab your attention and run away with it, right? If you can maintain your own attention and someone be snapping their fingers and not do this, that's the mental discipline you're trying to, if someone says, Chris, and I keep looking at you, that's what meditation does for you. They go like, Chris. And I'm like, I choose when to move my attention. You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal in meditation, is to practice thoughts popping up without you following them, right?
Right.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Now, once you've mastered that, it completely transforms your life. Because when someone says Chris, 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 or someone gets angry at you, you just look at them, right? And you go, I'm going to choose my response rather than feeling hurt or offended or punch them in the face or whatever. You've got a space there between the stimulus, like Chris, and, nah, I don't think they're talking to me, right? And then you can just, it's so much more, it's such more a calm experience of life when people that can't push your buttons, literally like a remote control, if someone knows where your button is, if they want to get a rise out of you, they can just say that word, like Back to the Future, he's like chicken, and he just can't help himself, right? Completely, that person's got you like a puppet on a string, right? And meditation will help you cut those strings so you can then be free.
An hour every single day, that's impressive. Now, some people may view that as a waste of time, but you got to do whatever you have to do with entrepreneurship, and there's so many challenges that are faced in cryptocurrencies and marketing and business and just life in general where, hey, if that 1 hour helps you with the rest of your day, that's a very effective use of your time.
That is the seventh habit of highly effective people. It's called sharpen the saw. And Stephen Covey tells the story about a woodcutter who is cutting, and his saw goes blunt. But he's so hell-bent on productivity that he refuses to stop sawing. And of course, now he's not getting through the wood anywhere near as quickly because, right? He won't stop for 15 minutes to sharpen the damn saw. Because if he did, his productivity would rocket back up to the top and he would saw a lot more wood. So refusing to take time out to meditate is the same thing. You're sawing with a blunt saw and you're just so stubborn that you're like, nah, I'm busy sawing here. It's like, it's blunt. You stupid. Take time out, right? Sharpen the saw, you know?
Take some time off.
That's the tool. That's the tool that does everything. You know, you are the asset that does the doing. So the value isn't in the doing, in the sawing. The value is in the sharpness of the saw. So you can go for it if you want to, but you're gonna knacker yourself out, and you're not gonna saw much wood.
There's a lot of people out there that they think hard work is the only thing that you have to do.
That's exactly.
Boom, 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 boom. 12 hours every single day. That's great. Even if you work 18 hours every single day, there's people who will earn more money, and then you're going to be like, oh, well, why are they earning more money? I work hard. That's cool. They work probably hard as well, but they work a little bit more effectively. They know exactly what pieces to learn, to go through. Then if they have mistakes, they learn from that. They realize this is a waste of time. This isn't. Oh, this is risky. Let me go into this. And this is for anything, even with cryptocurrencies, for example. We have different sides here where I'm sure we look at different things. That's because if we looked at everything again, we'd be confused. And for participants, for viewers out there, you're probably curious, like, oh, do I get into Bitcoin? Do I get into cryptocurrencies? Do I get into YouTube or business or whatever it is? You have to ask yourself, well, what do you want from life? How to get there in the fastest time? But not just about fastest, because you start thinking about this. You plan it out a little bit. But then after, it's like, okay, well, let's focus on one area that has to interest you, of course, because if it's work and you're negatively approaching it, then you're like, oh God, well,
it's a chore.
Yeah, it's a chore. I have to do this again. Oh, I'm waking up. Oh, it's nighttime. You approach it like it obviously is. Even if you try and convince yourself, oh no, it's fine. Unconsciously,
it's not fine.
It messes up everything. So you have to like what you're doing, and if you're interested in cryptocurrencies, which probably, if you're here, most likely, yeah. Or you're just curious. Maybe a friend or family member sent you this, or you just saw it and you're recommended. Hey, if you're asking yourself, is it too late to invest? Is it too late to start earning? Is it too late? Well, ask yourself what your goals are and what you really want out of this. If you like it, if you find it interesting, if there's one little point, go into that. Education is very important. Yeah. And with that, your life will absolutely change. The opportunities that will come over the next couple months, who knows? Of course, you have to put yourself out there and do the hard work, which that's also important. You can't just be like, oh, well, okay, I'll focus fully on mentally and just hope and dream and read all these books without putting the work in. But if you combine both with maybe a little bit of meditation, and it's interesting because you have two sides of course, the world's not black and white, but you have a lot of business people who are either on this side where it's just business, hardcore money, that's it, no time for family, no time for anything. And then you have the other guys where it's like, oh, hippy dippy.
Well, you'd just be a monk, wouldn't you?
Right.
Because that's a complete dedication to the inner world with no external world, and they're equally out of balance, right? So that's not cool.
You have to kind of choose what you want out of this. Where
you balance the two, right?
Yeah.
You take a piece from both ends and combine it in the middle,
Learn. Yeah.
and you have the power of both. So anyway, I'm aware we've kind of got off
No,
the
no, it's all
IndaHash
good.
ICO
Yeah.
subject here. Someone's just asked, it's Ryan Watson here. What happens if someone puts half the gas? Will it go through or be rejected? Well, you can try it. I assume you're talking about the gas limit. So if it hits the gas limit before the transaction is confirmed, it will be rejected. You'll lose the fee, but the amount of ether you intended to send will actually remain in your wallet. So you won't lose it. All you'll lose is the gas that was consumed in the failed transaction, right? So that's the answer to that. So let's check in on the ether scan here, see where we're up to. Yeah, you can finish your thingy. Have you?
No, I think it went through. I clicked the wrong thing.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
How long does it take for the tokens to occur? Is this a couple hours, or is this going to be taking a couple days?
Well, we have to reach the soft cap of 320 million coins.
Okay.
That's the point where this smart contract will release the tokens to everybody, right?
Okay.
So that's why I'm keeping an eye on this. So we got 4,027 ether in the contract so far.
And we need how many? 71,000?
We need like 71,000.
Okay.
So it doesn't look like we're going to sell out today. So
that's still pretty good though. For how long has it been? An hour and a half?
We've been like an hour and 15 minutes. I think
an hour
it's
and
been
15
live.
minutes. That's not bad. 4,000 Ethereum. How much is that?
Mike says, if you guys want to meditate at IndaHash, we have a good room down the hall.
The nap room, yeah.
Funny. Oh, nap room. When you said nap, I thought you said app. I thought you said the app room.
It's right across there.
Which would make perfect sense in IndaHash, right? The app room. I was like, oh, it's supposed to be where the app gets made. No, the nap room is proper Google up in here.
There's a game room as well. It's
not
not bad. That's over $1 million, approaching 1.5 million. Those are crazy numbers. You start thinking about that, $1.5 million moved around within an hour and a half. It's crazy what you get a bunch of people to go through. Do we have a way of tracking how many people invested?
Yeah, we can see roughly how many people. We can see the number of transactions. So let's refresh one more time. See right here. So 1,359, assuming each person only pledged once. Well, there's a big one, 4.3 ether.
Well, you guys were asking about
Converting the ether?
yeah, about where the allocation will go for the
Right.
So, do you want to hear it?
Sure, yeah. Go for it.
40. Mike's messaging me again. 40% to marketing and business development.
Okay, 40% of the ether to... No, I don't think that was the question. The question was, like, once you get the ether, are you going to sell it and turn it into Zs?
I guess so, yeah. Well, we have... Yes.
Yes.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
I would assume that is the case, because you can't pay everyone in ether. But that breakdown, I think that breakdown is in the white paper or on the ICO landing page,
Yeah,
I think.
I think he just took it right from that. So.
Yeah, so let's see if I can find it here. Thought it was in here.
What's the token shortcut? What do you type in to get to the page that you were at? 'Cause if I type in just IndaHash, it's not showing up.
r.indahash.com will take you to the ICO page.
r.indahash. But like for the ether scan.
Oh, for the ether scan. I don't know. Sorry.
How'd you get there?
I clicked on the transaction from within MetaMask. So
Okay.
if you
So I'd have to...
click verify transaction, and then hit where it's gone to. That's the IndaHash coin contract.
This,
So hit
okay.
that.
Okay, gotcha.
There
So
you go.
for anybody who didn't get that, you most likely got to transact. Well, you had to get a transaction, which you're able to click onto that. Go to Etherscan, which is quite a nice little project here, and you're able to go to the address that you sent to. Click that, and we see all the details, which you're able to track that constantly for updates. And you're able to do this for any project, of course.
Right. If you guys want the link, I'll stick it in the chat. There you go. So if you want to track how much money's coming in, you can check that in there. Sorry, my home. So someone just said in the chat there that the tokens have already been released. Let's see if that's true. So what we have to do here is go to tokens, click add, stick the contract address in there. No, I don't think they have. Oops, hang on. It's a URL, not an address. Get rid of that bit. Okay, 6 decimals of precision, IDH coin, add that. Oh, well.
They have.
They might not be transferable, but yeah, 2,668. So, well, that means the MetaMask has picked up the fact that my address has that many. But it depends whether they're transferable or not, because they may be locked until we hit soft cap, or maybe they are transferable. I don't know. This is curious. So that's the address on Etherscan, and then right here, let's see. Oh yes, they are in there. That's interesting. It does look like they've been released.
Awesome. Okay, let's check it out. So all you have to do is add custom token.
No.
Load.
I think it's already built in. If you go to IDH. No, well, maybe we will have to add it.
No, I think it's...
IND? No, that's not, is it?
No,
okay, maybe
no, we have to add it.
Sorry about
that. Okay, no, it's all good. So, token contract address. Where was that? Contract address. So, for those of you who don't know how to track it, if you're in My Ether wallet, take the... it's going to be on the right side over here. So, for other ICO tokens that are listed, for example, I don't know, let's say Wings or Wolk or Cadge or Loom or whatever, it's going to show up and all you have to do is just load. But if it's a custom token, you just click Add Custom Token, add in the address, the token symbol, which is IDH, right? And the decimals.
6.
Oh. Is it wrong? No.
You might have a space.
Ooh. Always with this guy.
No.
Well, let's just...
Well, I think that's right. Try it. It's not going to send anything, so you're not going to mess it up.
Always got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's showing, so maybe... And how many decimals?
6.
6. Now, where'd you find that information? Is that just the
But that was the
average?
address we sent to.
But the 6 decimals...
Oh, MetaMask picked that up from the contract.
Okay. Let's save that. See if that loads. Oh, it did. Okay, cool.
Sweet, man.
Awesome.
Okay, in the house, cool. Now, we should try it. Like, if you can somehow give me your Ether address, I'll try and send you an IDH coin and see if it lets me do it.
Sure. Let's see what's going to be the easiest way to send this. Email?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, this is a live experiment. See if we can do this.
Wrong email.
Well, that will also mean that theoretically, you could if this works, you can make a market on Ether Delta.
Can you
to trade them straight up?
Straight up. So even with the pre-ICO still going on?
As long as the coins are transferable, because Ether Delta is it's a decentralized exchange, right? You can create your own market. We could create their market right now and put our coins up for sale if this works, which would be interesting. It would be the only exchange listing them right now, but theoretically that would work, right? So let me see if this is correct. There you go.
Cool.
So go hit that. Well, this is interesting. Discovering on the fly here.
Double check. Okay, cool. Sending. By the way, do you ever use the application Streak for email?
Is that a metaphor?
Like
streaking?
Nah. For anybody out there that does business, Streak is an interesting app that I use just to... It's a little bit spooky, but you're able to check when somebody opens an email. It kind of tracks it.
Oh, man, I remember those days. Do you remember when we used to use Outlook? Have you ever used Outlook back in the day?
It's been a couple of years.
And you could request a read receipt. And then when they opened the email, it would tell you. So like, did you get the email? Yes, I really did.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, you're reading it right now. What a coincidence. Great.
True salesman. Let's refresh this.
I like that. You got your logo out there.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Coney International.
Well, this is a paid for Google Apps account.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's linked into my domain and everything. Where are you? What did you put?
There we go. Cool.
Right, let's pop this address into the old MetaMask. Come on, MetaMask. Send. Pop the address in there. Ah, this is the downside of using MetaMask.
What's
I
that?
can only send Ether from this.
Ooh, so
That's
you'd
it.
have to send to another wallet before being able to go through.
That is a problem.
Huh.
That is a slight problem. That's probably why they recommended using my Ether wallet. So that's not going to work.
Learn on the fly, though.
Yeah. No, I knew that. I knew
Mm.
that. So short of writing a custom script like my Ether wallet does to tell that wallet to send that coin to someone else, that functionality isn't automated in MetaMask. It's a massive oversight in my opinion, because once you've got them in there, you know, you can't send them out. I'd have to move that private key to say Ether Delta. What's it? No, what am I talking about? My Ether wallet. Maybe we should do that. That's what we should do.
So that's the only option you have, just
Yep.
exporting it. Okay.
So let's do this. Let's make sure I'm not sharing the screen here. Oh, I have managed to somehow. Oh, that's you. That's okay.
What's
I thought I moved my laptop into the shot, but I haven't. It's you.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. Right, let's
And
try
we're gonna
this.
film this. That it did actually go through. Okie dokie. Oh, gotta watch out.
Yeah, watch out for that.
Let's see.
myetherwallet.com.
Scrolling. Ooh, what a pretty sight to see. Okie dokie.
Send.
How
Ether.
long is are you planning to live stream for?
Until we run out of energy,
Okie dokie.
or until Barbara's like, it's time for dinner.
Because we do have actually another interesting person in the room.
Oh yeah, let's do that in a minute. Let's just finish. Let's see if we can solve this mystery.
That's 6. Okay. It's 5. Okay, we got time.
Okay,
No problem.
here we go. Now I can send. Gotta load tokens again from this thing. Come on. Okay, what do we want to send you?
And you already sent it to.
There you go. I don't think it's gonna work, but it's not coming up in the list because I don't think the contract's going to allow us to transfer them. Although, where the hell is it? Do I have to manually add it in here as well?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Yes. Ah, what a pain. All right, it's okay. We'll do this. So many steps.
The pains of crypto. No.
Yeah, man. This is the pain of the early adopter, though. So this is the contract address. Here we go again. Yeah, because all those settings are local to the wallet.
Mm.
So that's a. Did you have to enter the actual that?
Yeah,
Did you?
and then I tried 6. Boom.
It's IDH, isn't it?
That's what Meta said.
Double check. IDH. Come on, my Ether wallet. Let's do this. Unicorn. So many. Look at all these Ethereum-based tokens.
And there's more coming out.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Well, as we know, the IndaHash one isn't even in the list unless you add it manually. I wonder how many more of those there are.
Oh, there has to be a bunch. Hundreds.
Okay, so where the hell is it? It's not there.
Huh. Try. Did you ever click the yes go through at the bottom? Okay, you did.
Oh, there it is. It's at the bottom.
Oh, cool.
It's just that it's not in alphabetical order.
Okay, that's fine.
all right.
But it's in. All right, cool. Get in there.
Now we can do it.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll send you one.
Could not estimate gas. There are not enough funds.
What?
Oh, because maybe the gas limit changed by itself. Or it's either.
Okay, it's done.
Hmm? Transaction gas is too low.
Okay. Look, I'm mental with it then. 250,000. Depends how complicated the smart contract is, I guess. There she goes!
Okay.
Okay, this is going to work. Wow.
Huh.
Okay, so technically this shouldn't be happening right now. I don't know if they read this.
What are the concerns with that?
Well, technically, you can make a market and start competing with the ICO. So the idea of an ICO is, you know, all the funds come into the main contract. This is only one source of supply. Whereas there's now two sources of supply if someone sets up an Ether Delta market and starts selling them on the exchange. Because we already know you can get them immediately from the smart contract. You know, so you could pull them out of the ICO and then flip them on Ether Delta immediately if this works. So see if you got that.
Let's check.
It's confirmed anyway.
We're at 7616. 7616. Let's reload everything. Oh, no, wrong tab. Private key. Boop-a-doo. Load tokens. What? Why is mine 0? That's an interesting site.
What's that say at the bottom?
0.
No, right at the bottom. Scroll down. My Ether wallet does not hold your keys for you, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Huh. Let's...
Well, that was unexpected.
We'll try it again. This is interesting.
Yep.
Oh boy. The fun part. All right.
So what's the
It
last...
says my equivalent is of $13.
Show us your receiving address on top.
Uh,
So it ends with that.
but just my funds in general. They're okay, cool. It reloaded.
It's back.
That was like, whoa. There's 0 inside. Huh.
At least you were your response was curiosity. You were like, interesting.
Welcome to the crypto world.
That's right.
It's
always
always
those clinching moments, right? But it's okay.
okay. So we
found
got
the
it.
coins.
7616. But
Was that the same amount?
That's the same amount.
Okay, so for some reason that's not worked. Let's see if the actual transaction did convert. Hang on. Yes. If I go back to the... I've still got 2688.
okay.
Okay, so not good. Let me try this again. Oh, unless it failed because
Yeah. So
the
it might be a
smart
good
contract
thing.
doesn't allow transfers. That's what I expected to happen.
Okay. So
Let me try it one more time, because I want to actually see the failure code. Not often do we want to see failure, but this time I do. Right, here we go again. Fresh copy of my Ether wallet. Let me close the contract window down so I don't actually send a coin back to the original smart contract, which is a possibility. So I'm going to go send coins. I'm going to go use private key. I'm going to go to MetaMask and then, oh, for Christ's sake, get the password.
You can't transfer, says living off cryptos. Okay.
Yeah, well, we're just verifying that for real.
Love how simple the Ethereum platform is. Let's see.
That could be sarcasm.
Can you calculate the data to send in my Ether wallet and copy that over to MetaMask? Can you calculate the data?
No, you can't put scripts into MetaMask. The whole point of it is that it does all of the querying for you in the background.
Okay, gotcha.
But my Ether wallet is more techy, but...
Hey, I really like this Cryptoverse guy. He's awesome. Thanks, Dallas.
Oh, that's very kind.
Dear friend, please don't eat on...
Oh, come on, man. Look, we've been streaming for over 2 hours.
He did give a compliment,
And
though.
also, if you rewind, I've been holding this damn thing for like an hour and a half. So, it's going to be rotten by the end of the stream. Anyway, let's try this again. Come on now.
From Etherscan contract info, IS transferable false bool. Maybe he tried it.
Oh, there you go. False bool, that means, because a boolean is a yes or no programming variable.
Okay.
So it's like, is transfer true? False. So not transferable.
Okay.
So that's my coding background coming out. Still going to try it. Oh, look at that. As soon as you put 1 in, it must go to the smart contract to ask how much gas is required,
Right.
and then it goes bugger off.
Okay.
But I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway. 250,000.
Persistence.
I don't even care if it costs me $2 to figure this out. This is the links we're willing to go through. Send. Goo. Well, it says it's been broadcast, right?
Here, Johnny Latte also got that. If at now date ICON plus cooldown period is. Does that
Okay,
mean
well
it?
there you go. That's the actual bit out of the smart contract.
Okay.
So, if the day is earlier than the end of the ICO date, then no, you're not allowed to do a transfer.
Okay.
Basically,
That's cool.
that's probably what's going to happen. So this is that thing I was saying to Ryan. Whatever gas I'm expending right now, I'm going to lose it because you still have to pay to process it. The fact that it fails, that's on me, right?
Okay.
So we'll see what happens here. 21 Gwei price with 250,000 limit and 15 cents that cost. And let's see what the output was. Let's see. Well, it doesn't actually come up with an error in the output, but so check your balance. See if you've got it. Actually, you don't actually.
I like the delay on there because it's like, oh, okay, this is what I was just doing a little bit.
Oh, I look terrible. I've got my shit all mucked up. The problem is I usually stream with two screens, right? So
2 screens.
oh, of course,
Really?
yeah, because I want to monitor everything. Because this window I've got open here,
Okay, I was thinking about 2 screens like this for a second.
Oh,
I was
no,
like,
no.
Okay, yeah.
it's all the info I don't want to share.
Yeah,
Because
that's
this
good.
window will never be displayed because of the way I've got it set up.
Right.
So if I want to check any of this or this,
Right.
I've got it set up in such a way that it won't share those windows. It will only share this window and all the tabs, right? So when we do back and forth,
How much did that cost?
£140.
140 pounds.
Yeah.
Huh. Have to look into that. That's nice. Stream Deck. Cool. Okay.
Elgato.
Elgato. Yeah, that was. I remember using that for the gaming days when I
There you
used to
go.
record just straight off the screen. Elgato camera recorder. Or
Right.
whatever.
So hit this here Etherscan
Etherscan.
transaction history. It'll save you
Okey-dokey.
dicking about with thingy. Right. Look here in your tokens. IDH tokens. How many you got? Is it the same amount?
7616.
Okay, so that's not worked, has it? At all?
Xenon. What's that? What?
Well, that might have been airdropped on you.
What's airdropped?
You know, some like some new Ethereum-based coins. They literally airdrop some of the new currency based on how much ether you have in the wallet. So it just scans the Ethereum blockchain, looks at how much everyone's got, and then divvies up the free coins depending on how much ether you've got. So I find coins dropping into my ether wallets all the time, just from random airdrops.
So it's kind of like the Bitcoin hard fork. You just wake up one day and oh, there's some extra Bitcoin that the other.
Sort of, except that it's not like I said, that happened 12 days ago.
Huh. It's random things.
Yeah, man. So it doesn't have any value though because it's not trading
Okay.
anywhere.
458.
But there we go.
Huh. Strange.
So yes, mystery solved. The
We
smart
can't do it.
contract does not allow the transfer.
That's good though. That's a good
tokens.
thing.
That's also a good lesson in how these smart contracts work. The tokens aren't actually in your wallet, right? All of those 400 million IDH tokens, they live in the IndaHash smart contract. All the smart contract does, it keeps a record of my Ethereum address and how much of those 400 million I own. But they're not in my wallet as such. It's just that my key controls that, well, however many I've got, 2,600 coins type of thing.
Okay.
So what I just did then was I spoke to the smart contract and said, "Oi, send one of those coins and transfer it to this guy." But it all happens inside the smart contract. And because the logic inside says you can't do that yet because the date doesn't make no sense, it rejected it. So that's the one.
That's
So-
good though. It's good. Again, you can track everything. It's public. It's nice.
It is nice. There we go.
Compare that to the banking system where it's like, I think the most frustrating piece. Well, the city just looks beautiful here.
Mhm.
It's crazy. With even if you have, let's say, $1,000 or 2,000. For me, it's an interesting example because I moved over here to Poland, so I actually have this problem where I lose 1 to 3% just because I have to convert from U.S. dollars to PLN.
Well,
So-
why do you have to do that?
Just because whatever option I choose, let's say I go to the ATM. Okay, with my old card, boom. If I do a wire transfer, well, maybe it's not 1 to 3%, but then it's $15 out, $15 in. So you start adding all these little things up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's sometimes a $5 fee when I pay like online for stuff. I do have a Polish card, but it's interesting because I do want to get my cryptocurrencies into PLN. However, in Poland, what I heard from other people is that you need a license, and at that point it kind of gets a little bit...
I see. So say if you earn some dollars on the internet and you want to spend it locally, it has to get turned back into...
Well, no, but with like Bitcoin. So let's say I want to sell Bitcoin on local Bitcoins. Suddenly, if I'm able to sell that to America, to India, to wherever, but as soon as I start meeting up with someone here in real life, then I think the government gets interested in that. Well, if it happens one time, whatever. But when you're dealing with decent amounts every single month, it starts to get tricky. I have to look into that a little bit further, but that's what cryptocurrencies could resolve in the future.
And that guy in the US just got pinched for being an unlicensed Bitcoin trader for doing something similar, which you might see as innocent, just meeting someone in person, and exchanging some cash for some Bitcoin for a few $1,000s, but now even that's not allowed, right? Which is kind of interesting, because that's the whole point of decentralization, is allowing peer-to-peer trade, you know, without any friction. We're not allowed to do that. You have to go through some big centralized place, which is just dumb. But this is the perilous times. And sometimes where the regulators can kind of jam the gears of the system sometimes, when they actually make it less efficient than it could be if they just let it alone, you know.
It's crazy, the process when you're first getting into this, just to get Bitcoin and Ethereum or some cryptocurrencies, because you have to sign up for an account, most likely with an exchange. Let's say like Coinbase, you take a nice little selfie with your picture, your passport, all that. You have to go through those steps, which the average person gets a little bit frustrated with that.
Right.
Okay, so you get it, cool, but it takes a couple days, and once you get it, you're welcome to the new world.
But you might have cooled down by then, because you might be like, oh, I finally get the cryptocurrency thing. He's so excited, and you go to set up a Coinbase account, and then you have to wait. And it doesn't work, and you're like, it sours that first experience, right? When I was in Vegas, it happened because the guy was like, I'm convinced, right? Someone I met, and he was like, oh, will you sit with me while I set up a Coinbase account? I'm like, yes, but inside I was like, the chances of this going through seamlessly in 15 minutes is very slim, and in fact, he emailed me a week later saying I still haven't managed to get in, right? Still verifications or IDs or blah, blah, blah. But if you can get over that hump, right, it's worth it. It's so worth it.
And then the limits as well. It's like, oh, okay, I want to buy $1,000. Nope, it's $250 today. Okay, cool, $250. But once you get over that, then it's fine, because you have the same thing in the business world, where, for example, here in the banking world, you go to an ATM, it's your money. It's like, oh, okay, why are there limits, $1,000 or $5,000?
Exactly.
It's crazy. Or even the ATM. So okay, you have to go now to the bank, but then it's just a waste of time. Where it's like, here's an hour. Okay, so this is going to be really good as it keeps expanding. But right now you have three options. You earn Bitcoin, which is the easiest, which I like to go for that now, because it's a pain to go to the exchanges, or you can go to local Bitcoin Paxful, but then you get 20% on top of that, which is like, okay, cool, welcome to the crypto world, huh? But once you get over that,
would be a cool way of doing it, right? Would be to get a 10x card, earn some IndaHash coins, right? Sell them on the exchange for Bitcoin, transfer the Bitcoin to your 10x wallet, and then go and spend it, right? Because that Forex thing, because the whole thing about the 10x card is 0% Forex fee. So even you could do this, right? Even in the local Polish currency, you swipe the Visa, and 10x take care of the Forex side of things, which would be a lot less than whatever 7.5% or whatever it is you're getting stung for. So that's amazing. That's so amazing. You wouldn't even need a bank account to do that, right? If you were an influencer, you got paid, sold your IndaHash coins for Bitcoin, put them on your 10x card, and then paid in a local currency. That's starting to feel really automated. That's the thing about where the internet is right now. When we do something that looks magical, it might have 20 different pieces of technology involved. It's just that they're so seamlessly woven together. You press one button and it happens. Right now, there are all these, it's not seamless. You can see the seams when one system kind of stops, and you can tell that now you have to pick the Bitcoin up and manually plop it into the next part of the mousetrap so it can continue. And we have to keep shoveling it along like we just did then, right? There's a lot of, now the process, I have to do this for it to carry on, right? But the thing of my example of the 10x thing, IndaHash combined with an exchange, combined with 10x, and even then, you wouldn't even have to necessarily KYC yourself for that process.
What do you need for the 10x?
There are spending limits if you don't KYC yourself. It's something like $1,000 a month, I think it is. You can spend on it, just the straight up sign up, And because most people can sign up for a regular cryptocurrency exchange without identifying themselves, as long as they don't deal with fiat. So that's the thing. IndaHash app and some influencer income, any exchange, Binance, right? IndaHash into Bitcoin, withdraw that into your 10x card and spend, right? Boom. And that anyone can do that anywhere, anywhere that accepts Visa and has an internet connection, you're good to go. That's cool. I've just made that off.
It's expanding.
It is
expanding. Like next year, I just look at the next generation, what they're going to be learning about in school, what they're going to be used to.
Yes, that's a good point.
With cryptocurrencies. I mean, if it keeps going out, even if Bitcoin and Ethereum, forget about the prices for a second, but just cryptocurrency, more people get involved in it. Where nowadays I get excited when it's like a taxi driver accepts Bitcoin. Oh, okay, here, let me take a picture of that or whatever. But our kids will probably be like, oh, okay, well, send Bitcoin, send Ethereum, send IndaHash. Boom, 10 seconds.
On that point, though, last night, goes back to the hotel, cab driver only accepted cash. And I thought it was still a long way away because there's still cab drivers that are not even accepting card payments, let alone, cryptocurrency payments, you know what I'm saying?
That was interesting because we took the wrong...
I got in the wrong cab.
Yeah, no, it's...
It was the first one in the queue, and the guy was like, yeah, cool, man, and off we went. And actually, Barbara, do you know this, right? Yesterday, when I went to get out of the cab, and the guy's like, oi. I'm like, what? He's like, you've got to pay. And I'm like, what do you mean pay? Yeah, it's been done through the app. He was like, no. And I'm like, is this guy going to try to scam me right now? And I was like, I'll give you your card. He's like, no, I don't take cards. And I'm like, oh, bugger. I'm like, where is there an ATM? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, this is your city? I'm not even from around here. So anyway, the hotel sorted me out. But anyway, have you been keeping track of the progress?
Oh, I think it's really great.
It's going well, yeah. I was going to say, I don't know if you didn't want to look until later or whether you were
looking,
refreshing it.
Yeah, I was refreshing. And
is it refreshed right now?
Yeah, I just done it. I think we're on 1.3 mil. It's like
That's not bad.
4,500 ethers.
Yeah.
Yep, it's good for the first hour. It's pretty good. And it's still coming in. There's a big one, 3 ether, 3.5. Yeah, cool.
Alrighty, I'm going to head on out for a little bit, for like a little break. But if you want, we can.
Yeah, we'll bring him in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Chris, for having me.
Thank you, sir.
And see you guys.
Yeah. Alrighty. See how many people have still got on the stream. Actually, this is very interesting. This is probably the longest stream I've ever done.
Really?
Wow.
And what's interesting is the amount of viewers is continuing to go up.
Right, it's exponential growth.
Well, I think that makes sense because the longer it's up, the more time people have to discover it and so on, right? Because YouTube will be featuring it, Yikes. So where's the number of viewers at this moment in time? Let's check the actual stream page.
Nie moja, więc...
Let's see. Let's check out the chat. Ryan is still here. Hey, this is Lunch the host. I know that guy. He's I think we're going to be doing some videos together. Three ether is a big one. Well, it's big relative to the number of others that I was looking at right there. Oh, Mike's gone now, but sorry, that question was of him. Are you using Zappo? Yeah, a lot of people use that. I don't actually have a Zappo account, but a lot of people rave about it. Is that the same apple you've been eating the whole time? Yes, look at the state of it. I'm sustaining myself on this small food. And now Joe has abandoned me as well. He was the provider of food. So that's why I'm rationing myself on this here. Easy to accept BTC than it is to accept Visa. I agree, but technically that's true, but it requires that mental shift, doesn't it? Yeah, while we wait for 10x, I agree with that. I haven't checked in with the IndaHash chat group in a while. Still tons of people chatting in there. Okay, so people are asking, like, how do you see the coins in my Ether wallet? Maybe I can show that. So someone's answered it in the chat anyway. However, it might be worth me showing the actual screen. Let's see here. Hang on. Make sure I don't get feedback on this thing. I'm trying to find out the number of concurrent viewers right now, but the front end page is taking its sweet time to load. Okay, there's still plenty of people here. I guess I could deduce that from the fact that the chat is still pretty active. Anyway, let's look at the MyEtherWallet thing. How am I going to do this? I might have to use my MetaMask private key again. That's probably what I'll do. So let me get it open, and then I'll share the screen and show you what's going on here. This is why it's better to use a hardware wallet, preferably, because it's too easy to pull your private key out of a software wallet. Okay. I keep getting paranoid about sharing the screen when I'm sharing sensitive information. That's another thing about being live and sort of focusing on what you're doing, is it's quite easy to make a mistake. And if it's live streamed, there's no chance to go back on it. Right. Let's copy this. View wallet info. Open with a private key. Pop the private key in there. Unlock the wallet. Okie dokie. Right, maybe now you can see it. Let's just make sure that all the sensitive info is out of the way. Right, here we go. Bosh. Maybe I should bosh myself on the other side of the screen. So this is the answer to the question of how do you see your IDH coins inside the MyEther wallet. The first thing you need to do is make sure you log in. Make sure you've opened the wallet. And over here on the right hand side where it says token balances, you hit this thing that says add custom token. Now the contract address is the address that you sent your contribution to. So if you haven't made a note of that, just go back to indahash.com/ICO, click the button again as if you were going to participate, send more Ether in, and that will remind you of the contract address. In the token symbol box, just put IDH, and in the decimal box, put a number 6, and then click Save. That's it. If you do that, in the list of tokens that comes up in MyEther wallet, you will see the coins appear. Now, I believe that will only show up for as long as you are logged into your wallet. So if you leave and come back, I don't think it's going to automatically refresh until MyEther wallet decides to load IDH tokens by default. So just be aware of that. You can verify it, manually. The other way to do it, which is what we just did with Mike, was you can just look up your own Ethereum address on Etherscan and then drop down the tokens box to see how many IDH tokens are in there. So you don't need to log into the wallet to see that because that's publicly accessible information. Righto. So everyone seems pretty content. Any more questions in the chat right now? What is Ryan's channel? Who's Ryan? It was Mike. Unless you're talking about someone else.
I like that name. Ryan or Brian?
Yeah?
Ryan.
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 It's probably talking about someone else in the chat, maybe. Vitalik is the most concurrent person in the crypto space. No idea what that means.
Who?
Vitalik.
Maybe Vitalik from Ethereum.
Vitalik from Ethereum, but what do they mean? What do they mean? The most concurrent person? Because concurrency, what's Mike's channel? Someone asks.
Kubera.
Is Kubera? What you YouTube search that?
YouTube.com/c/KuberaYT.
Kubera YT. See if we can find that on YouTube.
It's the best option we can go here.
Kubera YT. If I can get it up, I'll post the link in the chat.
Cool, yeah, no problem.
Sorry, that was probably quite close to the microphone. There we go. What the mind can conceive, it can achieve. Sounds like Think and Grow Rich. So here is Mike's
Got a question.
channel. Whose question?
It's kind of like a little thing. If you want, we can go for the next couple hours. Just do a double stream, or I can wait till after for my channel. Because we could just do do a quick introduction and then boom, we just continue what we've been doing. Depends Depends on how much energy you have.
I'm not sure how that's going to work. What do you mean? Just keep this streaming and what? And
Also might as well. What do you think though? Better to wait.
How are we going to do that though? You're going to stream it to your channel, like sit it here, and have.
Yeah, just multiple platforms at the same time.
Okay, we might mash the connection a bit, but let's try it.
Hopefully not, because if two guys can take down IDH's connection here. Ooh.
Well, I did benchmark it before I started.
It was good download speed.
Actually, I benchmarked the upload faster than the download.
Yeah, I've never seen that, and I really like that.
Oh, so the comment about concurrency, it was some joke about how many viewers were watching concurrently. Okay, maybe my sense of humor is just not calibrated in that way. How much Ethereum did your apple cost? It was free. It was from the IndaHash kitchen, actually. How much gas? Well, it might produce gas after I've eaten it, but it didn't cost me any gas. I'm not going to lie, that is a sweet jacket. This is the Cryptoverse jacket. It's the one that's been on the channel since I started doing live face cam malarkeys. What we got yet? Just joining. What was the regulation keeping US from joining? Specific regulation, I do not know. I think it's a precautionary measure. If just speaking from my own point of view, I think it's a precautionary measure because the SEC are a little bit harsh if they decide to come down on you. They don't do it gently, right? So it's best to just steer clear of those kinds of things until they make the position clear. That's the biggest bug I think most companies have about regulation. It's not that there is regulation, it's just that, or isn't regulation, it's just like make your mind up. Because a business needs certainty in order to plan, and people need certainty in order to plan. If you're sat on the fence, what are you going to do with that, right? It could go either way at any minute. So companies that decide to embrace the uncertainty, think about New York, all those startups in New York in the cryptocurrency business, that all of a sudden the bit license came in and boom, right? That was the risk of entering the cryptocurrency space in an uncertain market. What else we got here? How many coins in total for IndaHash? I believe the hard cap is 400 million tokens. So 320 million has been sold in the pre-sale. It's about 80% of the supply. And then the real ICO, if you like, the actual public sale will be the remaining 20%. So Ryan, I have an honest question. What is that honest question? Shoot the question. If US citizens can't join the ICO, can the service still be provided to US citizens? To use the service, you'll need the tokens, I would have thought. Okay, so can US citizens still use the app? I believe so. When I had the tour of the offices earlier on, they have all these different offices that are full of people that are managing different countries. So like the I was going to say investor relations. It's not investor relations, is it? It's the relationship between the influencers in whatever country and, you know, IndaHash themselves. And there was a guy who covered the USA. So I think it's okay to be an influencer in the United States. That's fine, because that will be covered by those laws. It's specifically the laws around ICOs and the fact that these digital assets are considered assets. That's exactly the problem. What are they considered in law? It seems to differ from every one country to the next, right? So that's the answer to that. I'm pretty sure that you can use the IndaHash app. Someone says, what is IndaHash? Is it even worth buying? That's not a question that anyone can answer but you and your professional advisors. Mike says, yes, it's just participating in ICOs that are not allowed by the US. So, yeah, so as far as I understand it, and everyone seems to, not everyone, but there seems to be a lot of consensus on this, that it's a restriction around participating in the actual ICO. However, once that ICO is over, you're okay to buy the coins off the exchange on the open market. That is my current understanding. So that seems to be the general consensus of opinion that I've seen and I hold true at this time. So that's a way that American citizens can, you know, it's not getting around it. It's just a different way of participating that falls under different laws. How many tokens would be sell in the pre-ICO and during the ICO? How much is sold now? So 80% of the tokens are up for sale in the pre-sale. The question about how many have been sold. Let's see. Let's have a look at the contract. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? I've still got a stupid screen share on, haven't I? Wasn't paying attention to that. Okay, so 4,693 Ether. Okay. So the bonuses are done on dates, aren't they? So everyone's still getting 40% bonus right now. So 4693, and then if we multiply that by 4,880, 4,880 coins per Ether. Nope, it's 4480. So 21 million IndaHash coins have been sold so far. So plenty.
How much? 25 million?
21 million coins have sold so far in the first couple of hours.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. The token sale for ICOs is typically different than buying on the exchange. Yeah, that's someone else seems to be. Oh, it's minting coins is in the house. Woohoo! That's the actual minting coins. So yeah, we've got consensus on that as well. Is there a way to store the tokens on a hardware wallet? Yes. You would use a Ledger Nano S or any of the hardware wallets supported by My Ether Wallet. So where's the window with My Ether Wallet in it? I may have closed it. Let's bring it back. Let's refresh My Ether Wallet and I'll show you the various hardware wallets that it supports.
Bonus 40% already included. Yeah.
Yep, bonus. There we go. So let's hop over to the old screen share once again. So here when you activate or try and log into your My Ether wallet, you've got multiple options here. The ones that are hardware wallets are the Ledger Nano S, the Trezor, and you've got the digital Bitbox. So they're the three hardware wallets that are supported by My Ether wallet. Unfortunately, the old KeepKey doesn't appear in this list. I think I actually asked KeepKey about this. Do you support ERC20 tokens? And the answer is no. The wallet software does not support ERC20 tokens, unfortunately. So you'd have to use one of those three hardware wallets. Ledger Nano S, Digital Bitbox, or the Trezor. Next question. 22 million tokens sold. Yep. It's 22 million tokens, right? Not dollars. $21 million would be a complete sellout of all the tokens. What exchange will it be on when it's done? That information has not been revealed as yet. Is the 40% bonus already included? Yes. So if you pledge now, you'll automatically get 4,480 tokens for every 1 Ether that is pledged. And you have to do a minimum of half an Ether. So that's the answer to that question. Oh, I'm starting to flag a bit now. It creeps up on you. So I might have to start winding this down.
The lag? It's lagging? The connection?
No, I'm starting to flag.
Oh, okay.
It kind of creeps up on me.
Do you want
So,
anything?
no, I'm good. I mean, we can tag if you want. If you start your stream and then you can be the anchor, and then I can sort of come and go if I need a rest or whatever.
Right.
But right now I have to be the anchor, so I have to hold it down.
Sure.
All right, cool. So that's what it's going to do. So let's do this. Let's close the Cryptoverse stream, and then let's switch over to Mike's channel. You can be the anchor for the next part of this. So let's once again paste the link to Mike's channel, so you can. I'll be back in a mo on Mike's channel. So here we go. Everyone, make sure you hop over to this link. Let me put it in the chat to make it explicit. We are. Oh, Mike's changed his mind.
The live stream link, which
Okay, nice one.
send
Yeah, that's better.
to your email here.
How many tokens do you get for 0.05 ETH? Correction. The minimum pledge is 0.5 ETH. It's half an Ether minimum now, which has been revised. So if you pledged half an Ether, it's 2,600 odd tokens. Yeah, half of 448. Funny. Sorry, mate. Go on. What did you say?
No, it's all cool.
Are you going to send me the
Yeah,
link?
the
Okay,
link.
nice one. Yeah, so even better, we're going to share the actual link to the actual live stream, actual live stream.
Perfect.
So then we'll hop over.
Okey dokey. I like your choice in camera. It's,
Thank you. That's the product. Oh,
it's
look
the
at this
perfect
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, if you want, we can just plug and unplug.
Oh.
If you want to use this fixed point, I can just pull
Ooh,
this out and put it
okay.
in yours.
It's actually okay. Cool. We'll do that.
Yeah, because I was going to do that, but it was too close and so on. So
See, the interesting thing with MacBooks is, check this out, the nice little adapter, because you have to spend more money, of course. It has no SD cards, no DVD. There's no way to unscrew anything from here.
right. So where were you going to plug yours into?
The adapters.
Oh, that's
Which
okay. So
there's two
it'll still work. It'll still work.
Great.
It's exactly the same one. Right. Come on, email.
No, that's cool. Okie dokie. Well, that. Let's see what else. Do you have the mic?
Yeah, I could do the same thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, let's use your mic. I want to see what the difference is.
So I'm kind of curious. What kind of mic is that?
This is an iRig. It's K Media iRig mic. Oh, is that email? Come on, Google Mail. There we go. It took a second last time. Right, here's the old link. It's alright, just to make it clear, I'm going to put it in the chat. So we are moving over to Mike's channel to
Go Team Mac.
continue this. Yeah, this is PC versus Mac right now. I'm on PC, he's on Mac. Mac's taking over any minute. Oh no! Right, so I'm moving over to Mike's channel to continue the stream. Oops, I put stream. See you all there.
I bet 0.00001 Ethereum the K Media mic is better. That's a confident bet right there.
As opposed to, how do they know what you've got though?
What?
They don't know what your mic is. So how can you say it's better?
No. This guy, Sir Lunch, the better. Oh, yeah. He's betting for
He's
the
betting
future.
this is
He's
better
betting
than-
future, yeah.
Then this one, which no one knows what it is, which I know what that is, but we'll see.
See,
Okay.
it's effective because it's very cheap. So there's also a little holiday discount. It was only like $40.
Really? What? Sweet.
Of course, I forgot the pop filter. Well, I couldn't really fit it, but
I like it on my nerves. And also, you can't do it with this, otherwise you'd see this big ugly shape in the shot. So this is bad enough being in the shot as it is, but alrighty, go. There's the link. Get out of here. So I tell you what, let's do a proper outro, shall we? Do you know my outro? Let's have a go. Ready? I'm gonna play music. Go on, go for it.
thanks for watching the Cryptoverse. Here is Chris Coney. Yeah. Thanks for having high energy today. And did I miss anything?
That wasn't my outro.
I know.
Okay. All right, thanks for joining me today, guys. If you like this episode, hit the like button. Make sure you hit the link to Mike's channel. I'll be back in a second. If you're new around here, get subscribed. And also, if you like access to my very best material, such as my online courses that will teach you things like how to make and save money with Bitcoin, check out cryptovest.com. All right, guys, I'll be back in a moment with Mike's channel on Mike's stream. Link in the chat. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.